Yeah.
What's up, everyone? This is Steve BDF, Steve Ironed Out, Sugar White, whatever else you want to call me. This episode was recorded a few weeks back when this whole corona thing was still sort of in its infancy in the UK. We wanted to get it right and make it as entertaining to listen to as we could, so it took a little bit longer, and as a result of that, some of the things that you're going to hear in this episode are a little bit out of date now. For example, there's some gig adverts and all of them are either cancelled or postponed until a future date, so keep your eyes peeled for them after all this shit has calmed down. Hopefully we'll work out some way of keeping the episodes flowing while all this is going on to give you something to listen to, but for now, Waymer Lewis and myself would like to send out our best wishes to everyone listening, their families, their friends, during these uncertain times to come. Don't let fear guide you. Stay safe, stay alert, look out for others and look out for yourselves, and we will see you on the other side.
You're listening to the Everyone But Us podcast, straight from the heart of London.
Yo, what's up everyone? My name's Waymer.
My name's Lewis.
My name is Sugar White.
And make some unadulterated noise, please.
What's happening, boy? What's happening, boy? What's happening?
So before we start, I'd like to send a shout out to our regular listeners, our part-time listeners, and any new listeners. And without further ado, we have a very interesting guest in the building.
Very interesting, I would say.
He was a member of one of the most influential UK hardcore bands. He ran his own DIY music label, Blackfish Records.
Oh yeah, I did, didn't I?
He did. Which released over 20 CDs, one of which was very close to my heart, Time Won't Heal This.
Oh, damn.
He's an author of, I believe, 5 books, one of which features a toothless Peruvian vocalist on the front cover that we'll get into later. He was a writer for Terrorizer magazine and was responsible for getting the UK hardcore scene a lot of mainstream media coverage through that. So without further delay, I'd like to welcome my good friend, my brother, UK hardcore legend, Mr. Ian Glasper, everybody.
Sick, that's real. That's real. That's a great introduction, man. That's really nice.
You like that?
Yeah, that's
He's
nice.
one of our own. He's one of our own.
Oh, you're getting a bit sentimental now.
Oh, not
He's
worthy.
one of our own. He plays bass when he wants. He plays bass. So Ian, how you doing, man?
I'm alright, mate. Good to be here.
Good, man.
Nice to see you again.
I'd like to thank you for coming, man. And, you know, you've had to travel down from quite far, so I really appreciate it, man. And before we get into it, we always start with a little bit of just general conversation to, you know, loosen up. So Steve's just come back from holiday. How was that,
Yeah.
Steve? Where did you go?
I went to Cape Verde.
Yes.
And it was beautiful.
Beautiful.
Very warm.
Yes. You have got a bit of a...
I've got
I hate to say it, you got a bit of a white man tan.
Yeah, I know.
Like, it's red, it hasn't gone brown yet.
Yeah, you don't look that tan, like.
I can't sit in the sun, because if I sit in the sun, in fact, I did get heat exhaustion while I was out there.
Oh, did
it
you?
weren't even 30 degrees out there, but I felt so ill.
Heat exhaustion, what, sunstroke?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like one step before sunstroke.
Oh, okay.
And I was just literally from spending like half hour or an hour sitting out in the sun. And that
Where was it? So that's like...
Cape Verde is
Cape
off
Verde.
the coast of West Africa.
You know that, Ian? Cape Verde?
Is it like Canary Islands, that sort of way?
It's about, I suppose, about 1,000 miles further down.
Oh, yeah.
So
Oh,
it's
so
off
not
the
that
coast
close,
of
Yeah.
Senegal, and then Mauritania just above that.
Right,
It's
okay.
a former colony of Portugal.
How do you know that?
I think it is still.
Because
Maybe.
I don't think it is under. I don't think it is underneath it. But obviously, I think they might use the euro or some shit. But they speak Portuguese on that island. And how do I know that? Because I'm a very well cultured and educated person who checks stuff out and reads stuff, and I'm very much into history as well.
He gets stoned and he just reads the internet.
I don't smoke anymore. I stopped smoking. Well, I've stopped smoking for a bit now. But yeah, I've stopped
That's
smoking
good.
now. But yeah.
So I was on your travels, did you notice anything different with this coronavirus thing going on?
I did actually.
Tell us about it.
There were people in the airport, but on the aeroplane as well, wearing medical masks.
Nerd shit, innit?
Yeah, that's quite.
There was one woman, right, and this cracked me up as well. So there was a row of three, me and my girlfriend and this woman had the mask on in the queue, getting on the plane. She had the mask on when she was sitting on the plane, and then the meal comes round, and down it come. Yeah. And I thought to myself,
what, the mask or the trousers? Yeah.
And I just thought to myself, even if that mask did make a blind bit of fucking difference, you've just took it off.
Yeah, I know.
You know, just eating something just like 15 minutes ago, someone was sat in there with their scarf over their face, and I was thinking,
oh really?
Surely you don't think that's
protection, right?
Protecting you, right?
Just keeps you warm.
The only thing that scares me is that the media only tell you what they want you to know.
Exactly.
So it's what they don't tell you that you really need to be worried about. And it's the same with everything. It's the same with Brexit and everything, general elections. So what they want you to know, they tell you. So reading between the lines, who knows what.
That's what scares me. Yeah. What do you think about the discrimination side of it?
Yeah, it's pretty bad, man. It's bad.
I'll tell you,
it's just another excuse to be a cunt in it.
Did you see that? There's that one Asian woman that was on the train in rush hour.
Oh yeah, that was fucked up. Everyone was just moving away.
Yeah.
Everyone was like, literally, she posted it on Twitter or on one of her social media accounts. She was like basically going, yeah, like, I'm sitting here and people are like actively not sitting next to me and they're moving their shit away from me, and it's just fucking ignorance.
Now
man.
she knows how I feel.
Is that in London?
Yeah,
that was in London.
So that's like one of the most cosmopolitan cities in the world.
Yeah, Ian, man, we had a conversation on this podcast about the tube in rush hour, and it's like sardines.
Yeah.
So if you're in rush hour, I'm not sure if this was rush hour, but any time in the day, if you're on the central line and you've got two seats either side of you empty,
that says a lot.
That says a lot.
That says a lot. That says people are just fucking ignorant. I mean, there's cases of kids getting bullied now at school and getting picked on because they're of Chinese descent or they're mixed heritage or mixed race, and it's not right, man. It's not bad. But it's not good.
I wouldn't say it's. Do you know what it is? It's programming. If you hear every day, this virus is this virus is going there.
Of course.
And then you're seeing Asian people with masks on and doing this and doing that. After a while, your brain would start to compute things differently.
Trust me, mate.
Even when you don't realise you're doing it. It's like when you fall and you just put your hands out. You don't think about putting your hands out. Your hands just come out to protect yourself.
I know for a fact, like all the Asian tourists that we get here, whether they're from China or Japan or whatever, the guys walking around in central London doing their tourist thing, getting on with their lives. You know for a fact there's European tourists as well going like, telling their kids or whatever, don't go near them, they might have coronavirus or some shit. You know it's happening. Like, it's definitely fucking happening. There's some ignorance going on at the moment.
No, definitely.
Sad, mate. It's really sad. But hopefully they get a grip on it and contain it, and then everyone can go back to fucking hating Muslims or whatever they were hating before. I don't know.
People with that.
It's just another thing on their list.
Yeah, just another thing to hate on, innit? Now, like, yeah.
Have we got anything on? What do you guys think of Harvey Weinstein?
He's a cunt, overly
dirty cunt. Also, I've seen a video of him walking out of jail.
He's such a wanker.
Without no fucking frame.
Oh my God, he deserves an Oscar for that.
Yeah, he's a prick, mate. Like,
he deserves an Oscar for that. I couldn't believe it. Like, I see him on this like wheelchair thing. What is it? It didn't even look like a wheelchair.
Zimmer frame,
wasn't it?
Yeah, it's like a Zimmer
most
frame.
Most cost like $5,000 or something.
It was a spin to make him look frail.
Yeah, it's all a spin, mate. Exactly. He's all trying to play on the fucking emotion.
It'd be interesting to see how long he lives in jail for before the cameras outside his cell go down.
Yeah,
that's all. Listen,
and he's mysteriously found hung.
That's like, well, yeah, but that's fucking all Oprah's boy, Obama's boy, all these Hollywood liberal types. That's their boy. Yeah. They're all silent now. They don't say nothing. But there's pictures out there of them hanging with that fucking dude. They're all. I'm not saying that they're complicit with that shit, but that's their boy.
I remember seeing an interview though with Esther Rantzen, and she turned around and she was like almost in tears, going, I think it was Esther Rantzen anyway. She's going, I just never thought Jimmy would ever do anything like that. Talking about Jimmy Savile.
Do you see the shit that come out today?
Mad.
So just lastly before we obviously go into, because I've
go ahead, man.
Bump for time. But do you see about that the paedophile thing in Houses of Parliament? They're saying, well, today there was cover-ups of fucking.
I haven't read about it. I haven't actually checked it out yet. But I heard
maybe we'll talk about it on the next one or something. But like, there was legit cover-ups of people doing fucking horrible shit. And
I thought that's been known for a while though, isn't it?
Well, it surprised me, man.
There was a court case about it. Some dude actually, apparently there was a court case surrounding it, and there was a guy who was turns out that he was lying about it, but it never went anywhere. But this whole investigation, they've just turned around and said that basically there was no paedophile ring in in the Houses of Parliament, but there was definitely MPs and lords as such who were definitely involved in doing that sort of fucking activity.
Wow.
And it was covered up. And I mean, it doesn't matter what party they were from. At the end of the day, they're all politicians. They're all part of that same fucking sick world. And like, it's just disgusting, man. And it's still happening today. People could turn around and say it's not, because it fucking is, man.
No, it's
definitely
man.
happening. It's bad. It's fucking terrible.
You know what? Next podcast, we're going to hit on that.
Yeah,
we're going to hit that into
yeah,
depth.
mate, it's fucking disgusting.
So I got one last thing I want to ask before we get on to Ian, our main guest. Have you seen that thing? I don't know if you remember a while back, there was a hologram of Tupac doing a concert, and they had a hologram.
Oh, at Coachella?
Coachella.
Yeah.
And they had a hologram of Tupac, and he was performing with Snoop Dogg.
Yeah.
Right.
Now, I just read on the news, they're announcing they're doing a Whitney Houston hologram tour. So they have a live band, and they have a
They've been doing
hologram
that for a while,
of
that
Whitney
stuff.
Houston.
They've been doing
a tour.
Elvis and Roy Orbison. They've been on tour.
Dio's
Really? And where have I been hiding? I thought that was...
the hologram Ronnie James Dio has been doing gigs in front of like
No, get the fuck
3,000
out.
seat venues in America.
Where have I been in?
For real, yeah. They had the Freddie Mercury one, didn't they, as well, a while back? That was
A tour?
a few years ago, yeah.
Would any of you guys pay to watch a fucking hologram?
Nah, personally, I wouldn't, mate. It's
But what it is, the Dio one is a live band.
Yes,
and then
all
it's
of
just
them.
Dio in the middle, hologrammed up, being Dio.
Without being stupid,
It's mad.
what do? They must take the stems off the album.
I think they take live recordings.
3D cameras.
Yeah.
I'd probably go and see Cliff Burton do a bass solo.
Oh,
As a
yeah.
hologram.
That'd be interesting, man. Fuck.
Yeah.
What about
Actually,
if it freezes or they just turn it on and turn it back off again, like just in case? Like,
do you know what they should
Yeah,
do,
midway
right?
through.
They should get like do G.G. Allen, and you got to wear 3D glasses.
And he chucks shit
So when he
at you.
throws shit, it's like
fuck's sake.
4D experience.
4D.
Yeah, that's it, yeah.
And you can have like someone. You can have like you know, we put some manure down so you get the smell.
Scratch and sniff ticket.
That's it.
Yeah, we can do that. So Ian, man. Anyway, we'll get on to Ian, man. I was having a conversation with Pierre, and he said you're a black belt, or he thinks you're a black belt in karate or something. Is that true?
Yeah.
Oh, shit,
I
man.
got a black belt in Wadaroo karate about 10 years ago.
Holy moly! How did you get into that?
I did martial arts ever since I was a little kid. Like at school, I started with judo, and then I started doing ninjutsu. So chucking stars at people and break falling in the car park outside the dojo and stuff.
Wow.
So you've
Yeah.
actually had a star and like throwing that shit. Is there a technique to find a star?
Well, you practice with rubber ones rather than metal ones.
Ah,
but
okay,
yeah,
okay.
but it wasn't as good as it was cracked up to be in the films. Like, and then I did Aikido, which was all right, but it wasn't like Steven Seagal sort of thing.
I was just about to say. Oh, one of our friends does Aikido. Our friend from Holland, Going.
Going.
Going does.
We'll
Big up Going, yeah.
So, I mean,
Sorry, Going.
But that was, I mean, it was a good martial art for like from a sort of meditative sort of point of view, by how effective it will actually be. So then I started doing the karate and did that for 10 years, and then once you get to sort of first dan, I don't know, I sort of lost a bit of interest in it really, because you're so focused on getting there, and then I did BJJ for quite a few years after that. Knocked it all on the head about 3 years ago. Fucked my neck up real bad.
Sorry, how did you manage to fuck your neck up then?
Well, yeah, I was training. So the club I was training at, so I'm only like 65 kilos, like soaking wet, and there were all these like built Polish,
Burly
Russian
dude.
guys, just machines at BJJ, and and the instructor would say, well, don't train with them, wait till someone your size is ready to roll. But the male ego is like a fragile thing, and you think like, I'm gonna dive in there, and they're like, let's just roll light. As soon as you bump fist, just and I had my neck cranked a couple of times, and
So you decided to just knock it on the head.
Yeah. So
no pun intended.
Yeah.
Oh, listen, I just forgot. It's Going doesn't do Aikido. He does Hapkido. Is that
Hapkido?
another?
I don't know. It's probably from the same sort of family. But
Just to clarify that.
yeah,
You talk
but-
about Seagal, all that little hand. Is that all real? Is that all glamorized, or is that actually?
Well, the thing is with Aikido, and if there's any sort of people really into Aikido listening, and don't take offence, it's a really good martial art. But when I was training, it seemed that the two people had to cooperate with each other. So it was very much.
so
it's very much like a flow, ebb and flow kind of thing.
Choreography kind of.
there were a lot of benefits to it, and a lot of those wrist locks really do work, because I used them in BJJ on people, and it was like really caught them by surprise, the sneaky wrist locks and stuff. But the BJJ and the full contact karate, and that was like completely non-cooperative, so you kind of knew whether it worked or not when you got hit.
Have you ever had to like use it in real life? Have you ever fuck someone up?
No, never. And you know what? That's why I kind of got into it. No, it's not why I got into it. I kind of got into it because I was a bit of a wuss and a bit puny, and I thought I need to be able to defend myself. But as soon as I started doing martial arts, I developed much better awareness of how to avoid conflict.
Yeah.
So real self-defense is like, avoiding it in the first place, not parking your car in the darkest corner of the car park at 3 a.m. If you actually get into a fight, well, your self-defense has kind of failed, really. So I never really got into it with anyone, really.
Do you know what? I used to love karate, and I remember watching Karate Kid. And literally, you used to do the wax on, wax off.
Yeah.
And I used to be a little kid, and I used to be practicing all this shit, and I used to actually think like, I can do karate. And then I went to a class, and I must have lasted about 3 days, and I just lost interest. But I really wish that's something that I'd done when I was young. Do you know what I mean?
So you went home and started waxing on a few kicks.
Yeah. Someone kicked you in the teeth, and you thought,
I don't like this.
But it seems like now everyone's doing MMA. That seems to be like
everyone's into jiu-jitsu now as well.
It's very popular.
If it keeps you fit and it keeps you fucking handy on your toes and shit, then fair play. But it just seems like everyone gets into a thing, innit? Like what's popular at the time.
It's more interesting than the gym, like. But the first BJJ class I went to, it was like free fighting. It was just a free for all. Excuse me.
What does BJJ stand for? Sorry, because I'm
Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Okay, because I'm
I sort of went in there and they're like, it's free sparring tonight. You sure you don't want to sit out? As the newbie, and I'm like, no, I'm a black belt in karate. I'll be fine. Like, and so this guy, and he was obviously taking it easy with me, but he just put me to sleep in about 3 seconds.
Holy
fucking
shit.
hell.
What was the move?
Well, I thought I sort of bowled him over onto the floor thinking I got him now, and then next thing I know they're lifting my legs up saying, "You all right?" I'm like
shit.
And I'm like, I was just like, I haven't shit myself or anything, have I? And they're like, no, you're all right.
I've seen a couple of videos. I see one video a few years ago of some dude on a New York subway train, and some guy was just fucking with him, kept fucking with him, and all of a sudden he's just grabbed him with some headlock and he just rolled. They're on the floor of this fucking New York subway car.
Holy
and
shit.
the dude was just asleep, and his mates were like, yo, get off. He wasn't getting off of it. This dude, he was just holding onto his neck, but then eventually he fucking let go. But yeah, the dude was out cold.
When you put
jiu-jitsu's no joke, man. It's no joke.
When you put someone to sleep, how do you know that they're just knocked out or you haven't killed them?
Well,
is there a length of time? What
you're doing there is one way of getting.
So I was just imaging a net lock.
So that's like the Mataleo move. Like the Biohazard album is named after.
Ah, okay.
Which is like the lion killer. The rear naked choke. But the way I used to put people to sleep in competitions, and it was just really crafty. It was just an old guy, playing to his strengths. They'd be ragging me around all over the place, and I'd just slip my hand in their collar and just wait, for the right moment, and then you could just get like a collar choke on them.
And take them down.
Yeah, and the more they struggled, the tighter it got, and you were sort of, it was.
Wow. It's just there's points in it, like in your neck or I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I'm no expert. I don't know, but I'm just going off of what people might have said or what I might have read or what. But it's just pressure points in that. Like if you get the right point,
you're gone.
You're going to sleep, mate.
Steve just tells people his life story. And well, it started in 1978.
79, actually, get it right. Saturday, 18th of April, Ready Eye Collective presents, all the way from Scotland, Revulsion. They're joined by Glasgow's finest, Kingpin, the heavy metallic sound of Splintered, Stiff Meds from London with their chaotic, in-your-face hardcore punk, and Burn Alive, performing for the very first time. That's Saturday, 18th of April at the Old Blue Last, Great Eastern Street, Hackney.
So anyway, like on this podcast, like we've had a lot of cool guests. We always usually talk about the mid-90s and the 2000s because that was our era of hardcore.
Yeah.
Speak for
But
yourself.
like, yeah, well, all right then.
Yo, young buck over here, like.
Benjamin Button over there. But the cool thing about having you on is
I'm old.
yeah, I think you're older. But the cool thing about having you on is that usually you got into the hardcore punk / hardcore scene or whatever you want to call it in the 80s. So what we would love to know is what was the scene like in the 80s and like how did you get involved?
So I got into it about 1980. So
Fuck man, but how old was I?
I was 13 then.
You're 13.
So you were about 17, 18?
Wait for that.
Minus something.
That's like gone.
But yeah, so I was, I got into. It was quite. So I remember listening. One day I was listening to Stray Cats. Then the next I was listening to Adam and the Ants. The next I was listening to Killing Joke, and then the next I was listening to Discharge. It was like a real quick awakening. So 1980 was like a really fertile time for underground music. And I think, and the other thing is I think the stuff you get into between like the ages of 13 and 20, that's the stuff that sticks with you, and that's the stuff that gets hardwired into your head. And there were some older punk guys at our school, and I was kind of fascinated.
What was it about? Was
them.
it just the fact that was it like Grease? Did they have the T-bird jackets on? No, but they're the cool kids. You know what I mean?
They were the guys, smoking at the school gate and slam dancing at the school disco and stuff like that. And and I didn't really know where I wanted to be or who I wanted to be at that time. And when I heard that Discharge single, it was just like,
just blew your mind away.
Just the blinkers came off, and it was just a genuine what the fuck sort of moment. I'd never had anything like it. The single's called Decontrol, and it's like the most primal, intense rage, and this guy's like screaming about the system and the government lying to you and that, and I was like, what's all this? It was,
Thatcher just coming as well, so
I mean, it was that era, and so that was, so I had like a couple of paper rounds, and I was like pulling in like £5-6 a week off these paper rounds, and I was just literally putting it all over the counter at the local record shop and buying all these punk records as they came out. So they used to come out on a Monday.
Were they like just 7 inches? Like
7 inches, yeah.
Yeah.
And we had one of the famous labels called No Future, which had like bands like Blitz, Partisans, Peter and the Test Tube Babies. That was like 5 miles from where I live. Yeah. So you could get on the train and actually go over to the label and buy these records.
Wow.
For like 50p and stuff like that. And and if you want to know what the scene was like back then, so we'd get off the train in Morven, and you had to walk through the Morven Winter Gardens, which was a park, to get to this record store. But that was where all the Morven mods used to hang out. So it was like running the gauntlet. So you had your leather jacket on with studs and Ledbury Punks painted on the arm and stuff like that, and be chased up the road by the Morven mods.
Oh really?
Yeah.
It was almost like the fucking Warriors or some shit.
The Warriors. No, what's that? The Quadrophenia, wasn't it?
Quadrophenia,
yeah. So I mean, it was, it was great fun. And the one thing I suppose when you look back at those gigs in the 80s was how violent they were.
Tell us about it, man. We want to know.
So there was, you probably didn't go to a gig in the 80s where there wasn't a fight. It was that bad.
What was it over? Would it be just from people being drunk, or would it be from people like much dancing and then someone pushes into someone else, or would it just be over nothing?
A lot of it was inter-town rivalries, punks from one town, punks from another town, just getting into it. And then there'd be punks and skinheads, and punks and bikers and, stuff like that. And but then also it was just so boisterous and everybody was drunk. So, you knock someone's pint out of their hand when you're dancing, and it would all
it'd be a reason for like a bar fight. And just
but You know, I mean, I went to see GBH 2 or 3 times. I mean, I suppose the clue was in the name, wasn't it?
But, I still one of the best names, like
it's fucking.
Yeah.
So I mean, I went
iconic band name, man.
I went to see him a couple of times, and you know, the first 2 or 3 times they never played more than 2 or 3 songs. I saw him once at the Digbeth Civic Hall in Birmingham. It was probably about 1982, and just tons of skinheads piled into the front door, laying into everybody.
Was it heavily right wing? Is that fair to say, or was it?
I mean, I guess a lot of those skinheads were into. It was NF back then, you know. It's like the National Front, but you know, and the guitarist, I think he threw his guitar into the crowd at somebody, and it didn't come back onto the stage. And some guy took his bullet belt off and basically cleared the venue, swinging it around, and you're thinking, shit,
that's right.
Shit, I got, you know, I travelled all this way on the train for an hour, and I was sitting and played like 2 songs.
But didn't you leave that with a bit of a buzz? Like, because we talk about all the time, like, it's a bit silly saying it, but going to a show and that element of danger
well,
is a bit of a...
That edge, I mean, I don't miss it. I mean, I don't miss... So the first thing I used to do when I got to a gig was figure out where the exits were. And you would sort of stand with your back to the wall, keeping an eye on everything and thinking, it's going to kick off. You know, it's going to kick off. And
any moment.
And it usually did. And
did you get involved in any rucks? Obviously, pre-quality.
Well, the thing is... The band I was in back then, the first proper band I was in was called Decadence Within. The first band was called Ammonia 77, which is a shit name. We did like a dozen gigs and a demo, and then became Decadence Within in 1984, I think. And we had some shockers, like gigs where we had one we played with a whole coachload of Welsh skinheads came up. There's about 50 of them on this bus, all armed to the teeth, and they just trashed the place.
What, knives,
hammers, bats, sharpened wooden stakes.
They literally just come there to fight. Period.
And and it all kicked off, and you know, that venue got closed down, and it was a good, you know, local venue, and loads of them got nicked, and a couple of them went down, I think, for aggravated assault and stuff. But you know, that happened sort of every couple of months. We'd play, and the band would have to stop because glass is flying everywhere. And you know, some people still talk about some of those gigs. One gig we did at a community centre in Swindon just got completely trashed by a big gang of sort of casuals who just basically just gate crashed the gig because they were fed up of all these punks making their noise in this community centre.
So casuals wouldn't be like, when we say casual, we're talking about people that weren't into this type of music.
Yeah, kind of sort of
football types, isn't it? Like the casuals, isn't it?
They're probably more like, I don't know, they're probably more like, I suppose you call them chavs or something.
I was literally going to say that. Like, I know chav is a derogatory, inverted commas and that, but pretty much chavvy boys. Like.
But we were playing on stage, and then all the windows came in, and one of their mates had his arm burst with a bat, and that was because he put his hand up to stop this guy hitting him on the head with a bat. So God knows what about his arm.
My life, man!
But we're trying to load the gear out into the van, and there's fucking chairs flying everywhere, and it was just like,
wow,
you know.
Man.
But it was
total and utter
chaos.
It was
wild, it was, you know, and a lot of those gigs were like that, you know, back then.
I was going to say, you mentioned Discharge. What were the other very popular bands of that time? Napalm Death, Extreme Noise Terror.
So they were more like late 80s.
Late 80s,
yeah, they came out of the sort of, you know, the big bands for me in the early 80s would have been Discharge and Crass. They were the two cornerstones for me. But
did they who was the first, what they call it, D-type, what they call it?
Discharge were like the first sort of...
So Discharge get the crown for that.
They called it the D-beat, didn't they?
D-beat,
yeah.
Is that like Undisputed Discharge were the first to do that, or was there a bit of... Come on in.
I mean, if you go looking for a D-beat, I think there's a D-beat on the first Buzzcocks album in 1978.
Okay.
But Discharge just took it and boiled it down, stripped it back to basics. That was probably the only beat that Tez could play at the time.
Okay.
So he just hammered it. Would
the Exploited be a D-beat?
The Exploited were of the same era,
but when they the same sort of style.
It was the Exploited were more sort of straight punk, sort of thrashy, you know.
Okay, cool, man.
But you know, the bands back then, you had like. Well, you need to go and buy my first book.
I know, and I mean to read it.
So, yeah, Burning Britain, but which was named after a Chaos UK single. So Chaos UK were a big band, and the whole of that Bristol scene, Disorder, Lunatic Fringe, Amoebics, you know. But you kind of had like the Chaos Punks and the Peace Punks, or, you know, like the Studs and Leather Brigade and the Anarcho Brigade, and there was tension between the two. So you'd have Conflict slagging off Exploited slagging off Crass, Special Duties slagging off Crass. I actually liked both styles of music, like, you know, I just loved punk music.
Was it
really
friendly? Was it real animosity, or was it friendly rivalry? Like,
I think there was some genuine animosity there, you know, but then, you know, legend has it that when they did bump into each other at gigs, it was all cool, but on record they would be slagging each other off in the lyrics as well, printed on the lyric sleeve. So Special Duties did a single called Bullshit Crass, so they were quite specific about, you know, what they were saying. You know, and Conflict did a song called Exploitation about the exploited.
Holy moly, man. You see,
I wouldn't have ever wanted to piss Watty off, man. Jesus.
Yeah, he looks kind of nuts, doesn't he, man?
And
he's massive on all the geezer, isn't he?
Yeah. But you played in quite a few bands, innit? Before we get into that, how did you get into playing bass then? How did that come about? So did you just see all these bands and you was like, I want a piece of this?
Well, the thing is with punk, it's very self-empowering. So, you know, all the bands were saying, you know, get a guitar, start your own band.
Kind of like now, innit?
You know, do your own fanzine, become your own media. It was all very, you know, you guys good. You know, they broke down the barrier between the band and the audience and stuff like that. And that was what was so exciting about it, was that anyone could do it, no matter how badly or little you could play. And so me and Mobs, who I was in Stampin Ground with, who's my cousin.
Holy shit, I never knew that.
Yeah. So he had a guitar and he could play a few chords, and we wanted to start a band. And I was like, well, you've already got a guitar. And he was like, well, you're gonna have to play bass. So I borrowed a bass off a guy, and Mobs showed me how to tune it and showed me how to figure out where the root notes were to the chords and stuff like that. And we just, you know, I mean, we were terrible.
Oh yeah.
The very first band, you know.
What was the first band called?
Ammonia 77.
Oh, that was yeah.
So
who come up with that name, man?
Yeah, I did. I think. No, I don't.
You did a band called COVID.
No, I didn't actually come up with that. I was, I think, a singer at the time, but I think like our second gig was a big riot, and a load of hippies come in, and one of the punks got stabbed in the forehead with like an umbrella. And
fucking sounds nuts, mate.
I can remember standing outside that gig, because we didn't have tuners back then, and I couldn't tune the guitar, so Mobs would tune my guitar for me. So we stood out in the car park in the quietest place possible we could find, pushing our guitars up against a wooden fence because it vibrated a bit.
Oh yeah.
Trying to tune my bass up before we went on stage, like. And
by the time you get to the stage, it's all out of tune again.
Yeah,
you've knocked it on the door,
and there's a geezer walking around with a fucking umbrella hanging out.
But I mean, that was a pretty crap band. But then, I became a bassist by default. We needed a bassist.
And did you fall in love with it straight away? It was just like,
oh, well, I wasn't a natural at all. Okay. I mean, I still struggle with it.
Oh really?
And so I just practiced the runs over and over again. It wasn't something that came natural, and if I don't practice every day,
then you quickly lose it a little bit. I quickly
lose the sort of speed in my fingers and stuff like that.
So give us a quick rundown of all the bands in the 80s that you were in. Because I read there's quite a few, sorry.
So it was Ammonia 77, and then Decadence Within. Decadence Within actually went from 84 to 94. So that was
long time.
And then I quickly did a band called Burnside, which was a melodic punk band.
Yeah.
Who played that infamous business show at the Water Rats.
Do you know what? I was going to ask you about that. So, finish your band list and we'll go back to it. Go on.
And then, sorry, I don't want to kick that.
I think our American friends would like to see this business show story and all. Yeah.
And we're going to go back to it.
And then, then it was Stampin Ground. So I did that for 8 years or something. Left that because I was like, I'm done with bands. I'm going to spend some time with my family. straight into another band. It's a thrash metal band called Suicide Watch.
Yeah.
And then then we did Betrayed by Many. Then I did a stint in Freebase. Then 36 Strategies. I was in Flux Pink Indians for a while.
Jesus, man.
They were like sort of anarcho-punk legends in the early 80s. They were number one in the indie charts. I mean, their song Tube Disasters is what was basically me learning to play the bass, was playing that bass line. So that was like a real head fuck to play some gigs with them. Wow. And then 36 Strategies, and then War Wound.
Wow, man. So going back to Burnside, right, there was I remember this because I think this was 1994.
So there was a hardcore band called Burnside as well from the States, wasn't
there? Yeah, there was. Yeah.
There is.
So I think this show was in 1994 at the Water Rats, and Nicky Dust and our good friend Nice Guy Phil, they went to what's the business, and I'll never forget the story. I think the next day I must have caught up with Nicky, and he said to me, "Oh my god!"
That's like we were.
It sounds like
craziest shit happened last night, man.
I'm just picturing young Nicky,
with his mohawk. I was at the gig, and then next thing I know, 30-40 kids rushed through the venue. They started beating up everyone. It was chaos. The windows were getting smashed. Some geezer got his head kicked in. So he mentioned that Burnside was supporting, right?
We were on when it out. Yeah, we were literally on.
So Ian, right, I like to hear this story from the start.
So
please proceed.
Yeah, so I think Mickey Fitz asked us to play the gig, and
rest in peace, Mickey.
Yeah, and I mean, he was very supportive of the hardcore scene, and he was keen for the business to lose some of their following and cross over, and but yeah, so he offered us the gig, and a band called Travis Cut, like a melodic hardcore band, were opening. Now, I don't know, there's all sorts of different stories about what went down, but my sort of violence detector was like, giving it all that.
He's looking at the exit, so yeah.
Well, we went over the road to get some food, and then we were walking back to the venue, and it seemed odd that loads of people who didn't look like they would be going to the gig were turning up in vans, and they were all on mobile phones and stuff, and I was like,
they had mobile phones in 94.
Yeah.
That must have been the brick, right?
Bricks, but StarTech and all that. Like.
But it was still unusual to see it, and I was thinking, what's going on? Like, something's definitely going down. So I started to feel a bit jittery about the gig, and when we went in, it was like a really hostile audience. We played absolute silence between songs, total silence, like pin drop silence. It's like, oh, fuck, So anyway, we finished, and silence. And we're trying to get off the stage, and no one will move to let you off the stage with the gear either. So you're trying to get your amps off and just like getting barged. And we're like, fuck, what's going on? Like? And we're breaking the gear down side of stage. And then we heard this sort of commotion. And it was quite funny. Well, it wasn't funny, but it was strange because you looked across the venue and it looked like there was a tornado coming towards you because everything was going up in the air, and you're like, oh shit. So we could see that there was just stuff getting thrown everywhere, and we could hear people shouting and screaming, and we were in a corridor, and these doors got kicked open, and all these guys marched in, like literally marched in.
How were they dressed? Were they casuals as well? Would you look in?
I can't really remember. I was just too fucking scared. And so somehow we managed to get out this side door, but we still had all our gear. So I hid my 2 guitars under a parked car outside the venue and got away. A singer ended up in the flat above the venue, hiding in a cupboard. Someone's flat above the venue. But we sort of had to like barge away at the venue, and they were clearly there. It was like 2 rival factions turned up to settle some scores at that gig.
Oh, so it was nothing to do with the business or anything to do with that?
No, I don't think so. I think I get the impression that it was 2 rival right-wing factions. There's a book, I can't remember what it's called. there's a book about the rise of the right wing in the UK, and I can't for the life of me remember who wrote it, a guy called Nick, and it's called White something. But they talk about this gig, and I think they said it was like two factions who were disagreeing about the ideology of the party or whatever, and decided to have it out at this gig. But I mean, there's other rumours. The business had played an anti-fascist benefit the week before,
and they went to shut them down.
And someone went, So I don't really know what went down. All I know is that Travis Cutt's drum kit was all over the high street. Just literally cymbals thrown everywhere, and everything was everywhere.
Wow, yeah.
And all the gear was kicked in, and there was some kid lay on the floor in a big pool of blood, and I was like, oh my God, he's never going to survive that. But I think he did.
Nicky said he saw some kid get hit with a stand or something, like cracked in the head.
Yeah.
And then one guy was punching him repeatedly.
Yeah.
He goes, I'm surprised that guy's alive.
Yeah.
It was that bad. And
the till went from the door. The till with all the money that went. So none of us got paid.
Yeah.
And it was one of those it was just terrifying at the time, and you can laugh about it now, but I mean, at the time it was like blood run cold kind of thing, and but we sort of went back about 5 minutes later, and the police had arrived, shut the road down. My guitars were still under this car, so I grabbed them, put them in my van.
How long did it last for altogether? Was it
seemed like about an hour, but it was probably about 10 minutes. But
that's a long time.
That's the thing when it comes to fight and riots and shit. Like, you think it lasts like forever, but it's over within a blink of an eye. But 10 minutes for like a proper fucking. It sounds like a fucking riot, mate.
Yeah, I know.
It was proper scary, and despite the martial arts and stuff like that, like I said, I got into all that stuff because I am a fighter.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? And so it's not. We talk about that edge and that excitement at gigs. I don't miss it.
Did the Water Rats stop doing punk and oi gigs after that?
Well, you wouldn't blame them. If
no, I wouldn't blame them. But would they naturally people start blaming the style of music and whatnot?
Yeah.
So I don't know if that had an effect on the venue at all.
I mean, up Airway, every time there was a big fight at a punk gig, that venue stopped putting punk gigs on. So it wouldn't surprise me.
God damn, man.
Everyone but
hang on.
On Saturday the 4th of April at the Unicorn in Camden, Ruction Records presents Life Betrays Us, playing their last ever show. The packed lineup makes this a night not to miss, including London legends 50 Calibre, the return of Crippler, Hardmind from France, Stonehand, Entertain the Terror and Revoked. That's 4th of April at the Unicorn in Camden. Doors 7pm, £5 entry.
So I wanted to go, obviously we talked about you getting into the punk oi scene and the rest of it back in the 80s. I wanted to ask you, obviously there was no internet, so was you aware of what was going on in the States with New York hardcore, and what was your first time hearing hardcore from over the pond?
So I used to get Maximum Rock and Roll and Flipside and those sort of magazines and stuff like that. Which
Flipside, you know that?
Never heard of it.
So Maximum Rock and Roll, although
Maximum Rock and Roll.
Yeah, Maximum Rock and Roll tended not to big up the sort of hardcore bands from New York and stuff like that. It was weird. When I got into American hardcore, I kind of got into metal first. So I was really into early Metallica and early Slayer. And
how early? Be talking?
So the first time I saw either band was 86.
Fucking hell, man. The glory years.
So, but you would see them and they would have T-shirts on like COC, and you'd think, who's COC? You backtrack to COC, and I can remember discovering Animosity, and I was like, that's how I want to play bass. I was like a sponge back then. In fact, Decadence within that band was like a sponge. So every time we heard something different, we sounded like 10 different bands over 10 years. Do you know what I mean? So we were just absorbing influences all the time.
So what was the first hardcore band you heard from the States then? Was it
probably
Front, or was it?
I don't know.
I'm trying to think of
probably Bad Brains or something like that. Or,
Bad Brains?
Yeah.
Did you catch any of them bands in the 80s when they played?
Well, I saw Bad Brains a couple of times, but I didn't see them in their heyday. I saw them once when they were amazing, and I saw them once when they just played a whole reggae set.
The Rasta shit. Yeah, I heard about it. The weird Rasta shit.
Yeah.
Like they turn up to a show thinking, oh shit, I'm gonna watch Bad Brains, and they turn up and they just like
they're all stoned and they just
come on.
But I mean, but when you heard bands like Bad Brains and COC, you were suddenly like, you know, some of the UK 82 stuff which you thought was ferocious seemed quite tame. Oh, really? So it was like a constant race towards the ultimate. Which brings us to your Napalm Death thing. So sort of as the 80s sort of escalated and ramped up and everyone was getting faster and faster. Then you saw the emergence of Napalm Death and ENT and stuff like that.
Ah, cool, man.
I've heard some of like Napalm Death's demos from when they were a 3-piece. Before
really slow, yeah.
They were just like
sludge?
they were just like a punk band, really.
Oh, right, okay.
Yes.
And it's completely like if you heard it and someone said, "Who do you think that is?" You go, the last band you'd think of would be Napalm Death.
When Mickey Harris joined, he just completely, because he was blasting on the drums, but up until then they were more like Amoebics or something like that, you know.
Just want to say real quick, I've never got into COC, but their drummer passed away recently.
Yeah, Reed Mullen,
yeah. So
incredible talent as well. It's a shame.
Was he? Yeah, I don't know much about COC. Only the mid-90s stuff, like.
When they went all Thin Lizzy.
What's that video that
Southern Rock Thin Lizzy?
Decadent.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's when I came into them. I didn't even know they was really. I've never heard much of the really early stuff. Do you know what I mean?
The first couple of albums are just fierce,
hard.
Crossover, metallic punk, still with some Sabbathy intros and stuff. So they're still doing that kind of stuff. And then their later albums, in more recent times, they went into that southern rock kind of thing.
And that's when they really blew up.
But then they came back towards some of that hardcore stuff and crossover stuff as well.
They actually played Eperfest, about 4 years ago? The original lineup. And it's sad to say no one cared. Like no one was watching. It's quite a young crowd. So
yeah, do you know what's mad? I saw a video of Poison Idea playing Eperfest. I think it was last year. And I looked, and there was a view from the stage. I was like, why is everyone not singing along? Like, Poison Idea are one of the best fucking bands in the world. Like, why? It was like there were spaces in the audience. I was like, whoa. Yeah. But then I remembered I'm old. They're young.
Actually, that brings me to my next point. Like, just jumping forward a bit, and I wanted to get your opinion on this. When you look at punk and hardcore scene today, it's like two different worlds. Like two different scenes, they don't mix at all. Whereas back in the 90s, we used to mix a lot more. I know we had to because there weren't the numbers there, but why do you think that is? When you look at punk and hardcore today, and it's become so separated, in your opinion, someone that's come from the 80s, why do you think that is? Do you have an opinion on it, or?
You know, back, I think you hit the nail on the head with the numbers, really. I mean, back as the numbers grew, then you could make choices, you know, and you naturally surround yourself with like-minded people, don't you? Because I certainly don't like being around negativity, you know, it drags you down and stuff like that. So you surround yourself with like-minded people, and I guess that's why the scenes have gone into silos. But I mean, I think one thing about the modern hardcore thing, and I'm never going to say it used to be better back in the day, because I can remember when I got into punk in 1980, these punks who had been into it since 77 were like, nah, that ain't punk. It was punk. You should have seen it back in 77. That was when, the thing is, you know, everybody's got a frame that, you know, that they look out onto the world. You know, there's 8 billion people in the world. That means there's 8 billion opinions, and yours ain't the fucking only one that's right. You know, and it's like
that is definitely an old man thing, and something that I've tried so hard not to do, because I have been guilty of saying, hardcore in the 90s is better. Yeah. But then I just realised that was when I was getting into it. That's when I was excited.
Just like anything.
Kids getting into it now this is their time.
It's their reality.
They don't understand a lot of what happened in the 90s, or even maybe don't even know about it.
You know,
they don't need to know about it, do they? It's their realities now, isn't it? It's their issues.
This is their time now.
And who the fuck are we?
And it's just, I mean, sorry to cut you off there. It's the same as like watching football today. It's the same sort of thing. I mean, growing up in the 90s, watching football in the early 2000s, that was the era that I fucking loved football. And I watch football now, and I still love football. It's not kind of the same how I remember it. So it's just one of those things, man. Things change and evolve and shit. Like, man,
I gotta say though, I do miss the mix of punk and hardcore.
Yeah, I do.
And all that stuff.
Yeah.
I miss going to gigs. I don't go to punk gigs.
Yeah, I don't go to punk gigs. Like, I mean,
I used to.
And as I said, with Ready I'm Reduction, we do try to mix it up a little bit. Like, get crust bands, get punk bands. We've not put on any oi bands as yet, but that may be the next thing that we want to do. And I think it is a good thing to mix bands up, because if you just have the same sort of genres all the time doing the same things, people go, oh yeah, that show's happening again, but it's the same sort of type of bands. And then they see another time, it's like, oh shit, this band's playing. You'd be surprised, man. People be surprised when they're like, I would never have checked this band out, but I see them play one night, and then they become fucking big, massive fans of it. So it's one of those things, man.
Yeah,
Go on, sorry.
I think there is still, I mean, there's elements of hardcore that really draw on punk. I mean, some of the stuff on like Quality Control, you know, some of those bands like Arms Race and Farce and
Farce,
you know, they're very. They've got that Boston thing going on, but they're also very punk, aren't they? You know.
Shout out Who Cares as well, Willie's band. Willie Lee's band.
Old school shit.
Yeah.
But I have this conversation with Nick from Knuckle Dust all the time, and he says the only thing that he puts on the young people is he feels like you need to do your homework, you need to find out the history of the music that you're playing. Even if you're not into it, just... And I kind of... I'm not saying kids don't do
true,
that,
mate.
But like,
look at all this fucking trap and all this fucking shit. Like, these young dudes, they're doing. I mean, it's different genres. They're doing their own thing in that bar. The level of disrespect that some of these dudes in the trap and drill and all this shit they have for the
biggies,
dudes, fucking just. But as I'm saying, it's different eras.
They need to find out about Cool Mo D.
Yeah,
a little bit.
So man, let's get to it, man. Stampin Ground.
Yeah.
1995, you formed, right?
Yeah.
All right, so the original members were you on bass, Aid on drums?
No, I mean the very, very first lineup.
Teach me.
Was me on bass, Mobs on guitar, Paul Catton on vocals, who went on to be in Murder One and Medulla Nocte and stuff.
Oh shit! Holy moly!
And a guy called Rid White on drums. And their very first other guitarist was a guy... Oh my God, I forgot his name.
He wasn't that important.
But he was a local guy. Oh shit, I can't believe it. I forgot his name. Anyway, yeah, it'll come back to me. But he lasted a couple of practices. Then we got Scott in on guitar. Scott played in a thrash metal band called Cambodian Holiday. Named after the Dead Kennedy song. And actually Aid was in that band as well, but we got Scott in first just because we liked his guitar tone. We did a demo, which is like the most miserable thing you'll ever hear, that first Stampin Ground demo.
Mate, I love to hear that shit.
So it's so slow. It's like, because the modus operandi of that band when we started was we're going to be like the slowest, most bleak band possible. So we were really into like Crowbar, Earth Crisis and stuff like that, and we really wanted to just be devastatingly heavy and slow, but it's just boring. That's why we ended up sounding like Slayer. Really, just got faster and faster. But then the second demo, so the drummer left, and the second demo, Scott was like, let's get Aid in. So then we got Aid in on, and then Paul left, the vocalist, so we'd already done 2 demos. That's when we got Heath in, and that was the sort of lineup, you know, the first proper lineup of Stampin Ground.
So how did you all meet though? Like,
well, me and Mobs are cousins, so we lived in the same town.
Just I'm sorry to interrupt you. Just on Mobs, I have to say, right, I'm watching this program called The Outsider. Any of you guys watching that?
No.
It's on Sky Atlantic, right? So it's about this kid that gets murdered, right? They find the guy that does it, but the guy that murdered this kid was also in another town.
Oh, it's a Stephen King book, isn't it? Yeah. I've read the book. I haven't seen the series.
Yeah. So basically, it's about this demon that can take on the form of other people. Mobs looks a spitting image of Nikki Dust's dad. They look exactly.
Do you know what's mad?
Yeah.
Pierre fucking commented on the fucking Everyone But Us fucking post that I put up.
Yeah.
And he said, "Can you ask Ian why does Mob look like Nicky Knuckle does stand?" No fucking joke.
I swear to God. And whenever Stampin Ground played, we used to go, "Nick, your dad's doing good, isn't he? Your dad killing them with." And it was an ongoing joke, so I just wanted to mention that. But go on, yeah.
Mobs will probably listen to this. So give him a shout out.
Shout out to Mobs, man.
So, like, I've got a quick question,
Yeah, go
right,
on.
about Paul's vocals back then, because I was in a Medulla Nocte when they did like their first and second demos.
Yeah.
I first met him when I was like 15, and his vocals were really clean back then. He was doing they were almost a bit more of like a rapcore band at the time. So I can't imagine. Was he doing that style? Was he heavier style? Like?
He was really shredding his vocal cords and
Right.
Stampin Ground, and I think he actually fucked his voice up, and that's why he had to leave. He got like polyps on his throat or something.
Oh shit.
But we knew him from the Decadence Within days, because he came on tour with us in Europe and stuff like that, and he was quite local to us and doing his own fanzine. Like, we were all doing our own fanzines back then.
Yeah, because they were from like Hereford, weren't they? Is that right?
Yeah, Herefordshire anyway. Yeah, from the Shire.
From the Shire. So yeah, because we were saying, so you've explained that half the band, mate. How did you meet Scott and?
So Scott and Aid were in this band Cambodian Holiday.
Yeah.
And
So that you met them through knowing their band.
yeah, so
He's such a sick man.
and they were like a really decent thrash band, you know, and we used to go and see them. And like you said, back then the scenes were there's a lot of crossover between the scenes. So you'd have a punk band and a metal band.
Beautiful.
Yeah, and so we played with them. Decadence Within had probably played with Cambodian Holiday.
Oh, right.
And so we knew them, and that's how we thought, oh, that guy's got a really good guitar sound, that guy's a really good drummer, you know. So
It's
that's
like the X Factor. You was like,
we were headhunting them, yeah. And then I can't quite remember how we got Heath, because Heath was the one. He lived miles away in Bradford, and someone must have put him in touch with us, or us in touch with him. Because when Paul left, I think we knew the style we were doing. We were all already aping Earth Crisis, really, and we wanted a vocalist that could nail that kind of
that style.
You know, and that's exactly what Heath did. He was just perfect for it.
Whose idea was it to actually start the band? Was it like, I want to start a band, I want it to be like this?
So the story goes. So Decadence Within were on tour in Poland, and we had a night off. One of our gigs got cancelled. One of our gigs got stopped by the police before the gig even started, actually. They'd heard there was a punk gig on, and they just shut it down. So we drove over the border to Leipzig to check this gig out, and it was Snapcase, Earth Crisis.
Oh man!
Refused.
Holy shit!
And Real. And they were all playing Coney Island in Leipzig. This was 1994.
Wow!
And it was
Refused from Sweden.
Yes, yeah.
Sorry.
And it was like just the most insane gig, because this place was packed. Capacity was probably 600 people. There was probably 800.
We played there. We played there in March.
First night of the tour, we played Coney Island.
Oh yeah. So
was it the same back then?
I'm thinking Coney Island, America.
That's what I literally put
skate park and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So the coolest fucking venue.
Yeah, so in Leipzig, and I mean, this is how jammed people were in there. So the guy from Snapcase ran out before he played the first chord.
Yeah.
So the drummer counts in the 4 count, and as he strikes the first chord, he backflipped into the crowd.
Holy moly, man! There's a lot of pictures of him backflipping
off the monitor, and you think, that's confidence. Either there's so many people there they can't get out of the way.
That ain't that famous Snapcase picture. There's a famous Snapcase picture of him flipping off doing a flip.
But I mean, it was just that gig, just like I think we were just kind of getting jaded with Decadence Within, and watching Snapcase and Earth Crisis, hearing the guitar tone, seeing the intensity, we said, let's go home and do something heavier. And that was Stampin Ground, basically, except we were going to be called Second to None originally. I can't remember why we didn't go with that name.
There was a Second to None from America.
There might have been. So we ended up with a song called Second to None, which we put on Lil's UK Hardcore compilation CD.
Big up to Lil.
Big up, yeah. If you want to talk about a real legend of UK hardcore,
we'll hunt him down one day. Household names, yeah.
Funnily enough, Catherine's just come up on my people you might know on Facebook.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
You should,
but I don't know whether to add her because I don't know. Last time she saw me, I was probably 20.
Nah,
So
she'd be cool.
she who the fuck's this geezer?
She can only delete you, can't you?
Yeah, true. Yeah.
That's the only good thing about Facebook. It's catching up with people who haven't seen for years. Yeah.
So what was Stampin' Ground's first gig?
So I think it was Bradford 1 in 12.
We had this. Did we talk about 1 in 12 last?
Yeah, I think
We had about sheep on our last podcast.
Yeah.
So the 1 in 12 is like this DIY sort of legendary venue in you know, and it's 2 or 3 floors, and they got a rehearsal room, a studio, a vegan cafe, and this club, and we played there. Everyone who's anyone.
It was on the
plays
bill.
there. If I remember rightly, it was 108. Abinanda.
108. I really hate that 108. What song was that? Slapshot. I like 108, man.
Yeah.
108 the Krishna bands. 108 the Krishna
I love
bands.
108. I used to love 108, man.
Yeah, and Abinanda were on from Sweden.
Abinanda, yeah.
And Stampin Ground, and then
That's a sick bill, man.
I think the second gig might have been there as well, and I think that was with Above All.
Above All.
Yeah, and maybe another band, I can't remember.
What year was Above All?
Must have been 94.
Well, I thought Above All was after Stampin' Ground.
No, they had stuff coming out.
Wow.
When they were.
You kind of took their crown, didn't you? Because I remember they was on MTV. They were getting all the good support slots. They was like blowing up, and then I don't know what happened. They just disappeared.
I think their first 7-inch I think was amazing, and they were great the first few times I saw them. I think maybe they overproduced the album they did for Roadrunner, and it didn't quite capture their sort of
their sound.
Can
you guys, Lewis and Steve, can you remember your first time seeing Stampin' Ground at all?
I believe my first time was at the LA2 with Pierre on vocals.
So Heath got stuck on the motorway.
Yeah.
And didn't get to the gig, and we had a couple of people jump up.
I think that was the first time.
Oh shit! What? Who was that? Was that supporting someone?
Sick of it all, wasn't it? Was that Sick of it all?
I don't know. It might have been that. I can't remember which gig it was. We did that.
You played at LA2 a few times, didn't it?
Yeah, we did that Century Media gig there, didn't we? With Stuck Mojo and Slapshot and Marauder. And
was that the crossover 2000?
I've actually got that written down, but I thought that was in '96. I didn't realise that we knew you at that. I thought that's the first time I thought that was the first time I saw Stampin' Ground.
I think your first gig was with us, wasn't it?
Yeah, at the Laurel Tree, man. At the Laurel Tree, we supported.
I can remember thinking this lot are fucking good.
This sort of shit.
I'm gonna put one of their records out one day.
I know, respect, man.
Who's that lanky twat? No.
With the Hampton guitars.
Why has he got such a little guitar?
With the lawnmower guitar.
The lawnmower guitar sound. Do you know what? A quick story about my guitar sound, because I used to have the cab, and I've talked about it before. I had a keyboard amp with a DI output coming into a vocal PA rack feeding the cab. And I remember we'd done a tour with Stampin' Ground, and something happened to Scott's guitar amp, and he goes to me, "Yeah, can I borrow your guitar amp?" I'm like, "Yeah." So I showed it to him. He's like, "Oh no, it's all right." Someone else saw me. As soon as he saw it, he was like, "No, fuck that." But yeah, the crossover 2000, that was in '96. I thought it was with Marauder.
I think Marauder did play, yeah.
Do you remember Slapshot?
Stuck Mojo, Spud Monsters, maybe?
No, I don't think Spud Monsters.
Love Spud Monsters.
Do you remember a band called The Donuts? It was a female...
the straight edge band from Sweden, on Victory, yeah.
Man, I mean, that show was packed, man.
Yeah, we were lucky in that it was one of those sort of right time, right place. We just managed to get good support. Looking back, I think people must have just been fucked off with seeing us on the bill because we were playing everywhere.
How did you get all the hookups?
Just relentless networking.
This is kind of pre-internet, right? So what was you doing? Just
being a nuisance. We were just.
You hear that band?
We were just knocking on doors, ringing people up. Just whoring ourselves, really. Do
you think that's how you have to be? I like that. Do you think you have to be hungry for it, guys?
Well, we were.
Yeah, hustle, innit you?
You do have to hustle.
Some people get annoyed with it, like when certain bands get on certain bills all the time. But I don't know, is it?
I mean, if your music is what people want to hear and you're humble about it and you just want to play because you want to play, I don't see a problem with it. But if you just want to whore yourself out for the big shows and for when the big bands or certain bands come over, then yeah, it's kind of corny. Because if you just want to haul yourself out for one particular show, but then when there's other shows happening which are DIY and you don't give a shit.
Stampin Ground was doing loads of DIY shows. You guys,
well, that's it. Like,
we would literally play. I mean, we would just play anywhere. I mean, I remember people would ring us up and they'd say, "Above all, I pulled out of a gig in Kidderminster tomorrow. Do you want to do it?" And we did it, and there was like 3 people there. You know, and the promotion was a chalkboard outside.
yeah.
And so it was, you know, we would play anywhere and everywhere. But the one thing that we did is that, you know, we turned up and we gave our all and we didn't fuck anyone over.
Yeah.
So people wanted to have us back. You know, so we didn't burn any bridges with bands or promoters, or we tried not to anyway.
Yeah. He was respectful and.
Yeah. You know, so we would just. Yeah, you know, so people would ask us back, and if you do a really great gig and no one was there, and they'd say, "Oh, we've got such and such coming through in 2 months' time. Do you want to do that?"
You just jump on it.
Make up for the poor turnout tonight, and we're thinking, well, it wasn't your fault, mate, but yeah, we'll do it.
Everyone but us. Straight from the heart of London.
So, going to your first 7-inch, I think Ray does. I remember he bought your first 7-inch. You had a red one and a blue one. Well, I was trying to remember in my head what it was. I know the first one was Dawn of the Night.
Dawn of Night, yeah. And
Did you do 2 versions of that?
So it was Brian Sale from Days of Fury records up in Liverpool.
Brian.
We used to call it was Days of Fury. We used to call it Fists of Fury after we seen him leather some guy at an Earth Crisis gig.
Oh really? What do you do? Smack them up.
But yeah, so I think he might have done it. You know, the first press was on like that brownie print, and then the second one might have been
I only saw the red one, I think.
Yeah, and then we at the same time we recorded that, we did another 3 songs.
Oh right.
Which Met from Too Damn Hype over in Philadelphia.
Too Damn Hype. Yeah.
He put out a 7-inch, which was the Starved 7-inch. So they were recorded back to back, but Starved came out slightly later than.
Oh, that's sick, man.
Than Dawn of Night, and then We Bite picked up on both of those 7-inches, and then put it out as a mini CD.
Yeah.
Which was part of the deal that, you know, they were going to do our album, but they wanted to do the 2 7-inches as a mini CD as well.
That's great, man. So, but going back to Days of Fury, Brian, man, because Brian was the first person that put out Knuckle Dust's little mini London CD.
Yeah.
So shout out to him. How did you meet Brian? Did he approach you?
We probably approached him.
Yeah.
I mean, so this was back in the days when, you know, I was writing a lot of letters, you know, and sending tapes out. You know, we sent hundreds of that first demo out, probably to our detriment. But the second demo was better. I mean, the second demo had the songs that were on those 2 7-inches on. But with Paul singing them instead of Heath.
Oh, okay.
So we sent those out. So he might have picked up on that. You know,
I remember listening to that first 7-inch, and I must admit I could hear the Earth Crisis.
Of course you could. It's an Earth Crisis.
I know you most probably get asked about this a million times, but that riff, dun 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 dun, I could hear the Earth Crisis influence. So that was something that you was like. Was you into the whole vegan?
Yeah. So I stopped. So I went vegetarian when I was 13. So 1980, I went vegetarian. And that was nothing to do with Earth Crisis. That was completely to do with Conflict and Flux of Pink Indians and those bands.
Oh, that's wicked.
Might have been 1981 actually, but I think I was 13, 14. Then I stopped drinking when I was 21, so about 88. And Decadence did some gigs with Youth of Today in Europe at that time, and they couldn't believe that this sort of punk band from England didn't drink and were vegetarian, you know, as well. But it was coming at it from 2 different sort of scenes, really. But you know, I've never put an X on my hand. I've never.
Why is that?
Because
Mobs used to have X's on his hand.
No, they would have only X'd his hand up to get in the venue. You know,
that was it. Yeah.
No, I've never X'd up. It's not. I don't know. I just never felt the need to. I never really called myself straight edge. I just don't drink or smoke.
Nah, that's fair.
You know, it's just like.
I respect that.
Yeah, it's just because I was a lazy drunk, and I just thought I've got to stop. You know, and I smoked a bit of weed, but I didn't like smoking much.
See, when I think about the 80s, what do you guys think? I think drugs, sex, rock and roll. Most probably more drugs. Was there like any resemblance of a straight edge scene in the 80s? Was it a thing? I know you said conflict, but was it a thing in the scene?
I mean, there's a lot of glue sniffing and stuff in the 80s as well. It wasn't so much. There definitely wasn't much straight edge going on. It was, I don't know. Yeah, it was a lot of drink and drugs, and I mean,
so there wasn't much of like a straight edge.
No, some of those early Decadence Within gigs were just carnage. I remember Mobs, because Mobs was the drummer in Decadence Within. He ended up on guitar and Stampin Ground, but I can remember doing gigs where he couldn't actually stay upright on his drum stool because he was so drunk.
Wow, man, I can't believe that.
Sort of just propping him up on this drum stool. It was just a sensible thing for me, because I was also like driving the band everywhere, and it was just.
Were you like managing the band then? Was it kind of you?
No, I mean that would be stronging it up a bit, but I guess I was like doing most of the organising.
Oh, okay.
I think most of the musical direction in Stampin Ground probably came from Mobs. I think he probably shaped the sound of the band the most, and then I wrote all the lyrics and sort of come up with a lot of the titles and the concepts. But it was mainly me, I guess. It was chasing the gigs and stuff like that, and then eventually we started working with MAD and Hidden Talent and people as well.
So I mean, because your first album was Demons Run Amok, and then you started playing more and more. Like, what was it? When did Stampin Ground really start to pick up steam? When did you realise, oh shit, this is actually popping off? I
think the moment would have been probably we had a song, The Death You Deserve, off the second album, and it was on a Metal Hammer compilation, like one of those cover compilations.
Yeah.
And it was really weird. I don't know. One week we played in front of 50 people somewhere. That mag came out with that CD on the front, and the following week there was twice as many people there, and there was a lot of like metal kids there and stuff, and we were like, oh, okay, that's interesting.
Yeah.
And then with the third album, I think it got like, the split with Knuckle Dust got single of the week in Kerrang, didn't it?
Oh, there you go. See?
Yeah. Hey. And it was, I think Dave Grohl reviewed it.
Get the fuck out.
Yeah.
For real?
Yeah. And it got single of the week in Kerrang, and again,
have you got that article?
Probably somewhere. Aid or someone will have it.
Holy shit, man! I never knew that.
I'm sure it was Dave Grohl.
You're still shit.
But yeah, and again, the next few gigs we did, we thought, fuck, there's loads of young metal kids at the gig. So I think it was just
an offshoot.
It sort of blew up bit by bit organically. And then that third album, I think, Carved from Empty Words, was the one where
that's the one that really
it got really good reviews across the board, and we were really quite surprised at it. And then other people started to ask us, would we tour with them and stuff like that, And
that's where it kicked off, man.
Yeah, I guess it did. I mean, I don't know. It's hard looking back to think how, whether we were actually popular, but we did all right.
100% were, man. I can tell you that. But like, what happened? I have to say, this is a bit of a weird one. I have to say thank you, because there's one gig Stampin Ground couldn't play that I was happy they couldn't play, because Knuckle Dust got the opportunity to support Warzone at the Underworld. Apparently, Stampin Ground was supposed to play, but for some reason you couldn't play. Does that ring a bell?
Well, we did some gigs with Warzone in Europe.
I think you got offered the London gig and you couldn't do it, and then I think one of you guys might have said, Knuckle Dust would do it.
Yeah, we'll take credit for that. Yeah.
So I just wanted to say thank you for that, because that was like fucking something on the bucket list from me and the guys. You know what I mean?
Good.
So what happened? So you guys were killing it, and then all of a sudden Heath left. What happened there? Because I remember someone said to me, "Have you heard the news?" I'm like, what? He goes like, oh, Heath left Stampin Ground. And I was like, what the fuck? Because it just like came out of nowhere. Was there, what happened there, if you don't mind talking about it?
Yeah, we just parted ways, really. I mean, I'm really good friends with Heath now, and
that's great, man.
There's no animosity. I mean, there probably was for a while when it happened, because there always is when, that bands are kind of weird, aren't they? It's a bit like relationships and families and stuff like that. But you live,
we know all about that.
You live in each other's pockets on tour, and we did a particularly grueling European tour, I think, that took it ahead of us, and everybody was at each other's
there a bit of tension in the band? Was there arguments?
there was a lot of tension. I can remember there was a lot of arguing backstage at a gig in Hamburg.
Was there any headlocks putting anyone to sleep? No.
No. So yeah, I only do that when I'm in my pajamas.
All right, yeah.
So they, and it, it's just one of those things, and it probably could have been handled a lot better. But yeah, we had a big falling out at a rehearsal, and then we were looking for a new singer, and we tried some new vocalists out, and we tried 3 or 4 out actually, and then got Adam in, and he seemed to fit.
I was going to say, because we had this, Born from Pain.
Yeah.
We had Rob, who was the bass player in Born from Pain for a long time, and then the singer Shay left, and then they had an issue whereby you got this guy with an iconic voice, and then you're trying to get other people in, and then like the fans, I don't like to call them the fans, or the people that listen to your music, you lose that connection. And he was saying he took over on vocals, but it took them a long time before people started to accept that he was now the vocalist, and now they've kind of got back to where they were before.
Yeah.
With Adam, I would say you guys were lucky, because Adam came in and literally killed it straight away, didn't he? He just fit in straight away. People or is it different from the?
No, I think it was a timing thing. I think in that we started to get a lot of press for that second album, which was the first one Adam was on. So you had a lot of new people getting into the band who probably backtracked to the first record, but they weren't carrying any baggage from the first record, as far as they, the guys that checked us out because of a review in Metal Hammer or Kerrang, that was the first time they'd heard us, if you know what I mean.
So when Adam got in the band, how quick was it before that album came? Was that album written before he got it?
It was, we'd started writing Expression of Repressed Violence, but...
Before he was in the band?
Yeah, before he was in the band.
So okay.
But he came straight in, and we had half those songs that he wanted to... he needed to learn, and then he worked on the second half of that album with us, put his stamp on it and stuff. But he slotted in, perfectly, really quickly.
Nice. So how many people did you audition? Audition, is that the right term? Or try out before Adam?
Yeah, probably 3 or 4, really.
Steve, why didn't you make it? What was it? So what was it about Adam that, you said this is the right guy? Can you remember, if you take us back to first hearing his vocals, and what was it about him that you was like, this is the guy?
I don't think so much it was his vocals, it was just more his sort of drive. He was really
hungry.
He really wanted to do it. Yeah. So he drove all the way up from Southend.
Essex boy.
He'd learned a lot of the songs. You could tell that he really wanted to do it. Yeah. And I think that was probably what impressed us, really.
I think his vocals are great as well, though.
No, he had good stage presence, man.
And that,
Yeah, Heath's voice was so savage. They were big. Yeah. They were big shoes to fill. And I think on the Expression album, Adam was probably conscious of that, because he sounds a bit more like Heath on that album.
But
then he started. Then I don't think he's trying to copy, but I just think possibly because some of the songs had been written before he joined the band, so he was given those songs, But then when he stamped his own mark on it, he developed his own, personality, and he, like you said, his stage presence was really good. It came along really quick. He was very confident,
I was watching Stampin Ground at Download Festival in 2003, and I remember
that was my last gig with him.
Is that your last gig?
Yeah.
Wow.
And I remember Adam. I was watching Adam, and he was he commanded the stage, man. I remember he had these two. He asked for, was it a wall of death or something?
Yeah, 2 circle pits going.
Yeah, 2 circle pits going on. He had this huge wall of death, and he just came on and absolutely killed it, man.
And we were on second in the day. It was fucking 1:30 in the afternoon.
Wow, yeah. I've seen photos of that, and I was like, fuck me.
There was you go and check it on YouTube, man. There was 20,000 people.
I think it was 50,000. They said
50,000. Yeah, it was packed,
fuck
man. For that early in the day,
but
man.
I was I'm so short-sighted. It was you
couldn't
can only see the front 2 or 3 rows anyway. So
Yeah. Who was headlining that year?
Iron Maiden.
Oh shit, man! What was that like?
Yeah, all right. They did their thing, you know.
Do you know what? The cool thing about these fests, I remember I played years ago. I must have played a Hellfest or something like that. I can't remember what it was, and I remember just being backstage and like 10 yards away. I was like, "Oh, there's Slash." Okay, yeah. And then I remember being in the canteen at meeting, and then what's his name? The dude Corey from Slipknot was literally a couple of tables next to me eating. I'm like, oh, that's the dude from fucking Slipknot.
We did one of those festivals. Can't remember which one it was, but Slayer, and we were sat backstage with Slayer watching the football.
Yeah,
and Aid.
Oh, so you actually sat with them?
Yeah. So and they were really, you know, Aid had his picture taken with Tom Araya, and at the time, Kerrang did this sort of stalker sort of feature. And he sent it in, pretending to be Tom Araya stalking Aid from Stampin Ground.
Yeah.
He said, look who I bumped into. It's the drummer from Stampin Ground. Love Tom Araya.
That's amazing, man. Did you bump into any, like, who else did you bump into? Did you get any, like, wow moments, like, oh shit, like?
Yeah. I mean, I was a big Sheer Terror fan, so it was great to play there.
So that's real, isn't it? I'm talking about all these rock stars, and you mentioned Sheer Terror.
Yeah. So to play there, it was their last gig. Well, before they reformed again, but their last gig, and it was Paul Bearer, and he was like on stage. It was in a festival in Belgium, and he was like, "Oh, so this is how it ends in a field in Belgium, is it?" And Mark Freebase knocked himself out on the stage, jumped on the barrier and tried to dive on the stage and smashed his head into the
shout out to Mark.
Yeah, Mark's locked down in northern Italy at the moment, which is where he lives.
Is he?
He lives in northern Italy.
Oh shit, with the corona outbreak.
Yeah, he's locked down over there. So shout out to Mark.
On April the 3rd, 2020, the EMHC Collective are proud to present Hard Mind. Support comes from Full Contact, Entertain the Terror, Nothing Clean and Eternal Discipline. The show kicks off at 7 o'clock. It's £7 on the door. Get there early though and put on your best mosh socks. That's at LSQ, 170 Belgrave Gate, Leicester.
Anyway, so away from all the glitz and the glamour of festivals, there were some great like DIY shows back in the day. Like in Essex, you had Unite, Raiden, Special Move. In London, you had like us lot doing our thing. In Wales, you had Public Disturbance. On the South Coast, you had 6 Foot Ditch. In the Midlands, you had Freebase. Then in Scotland, you had Divide, Broken Oath. What were some of your most memorable places back then playing, or memorable shows? Anything you can share with us?
I think I liked playing the Red Eye.
The Red Eye. We've talked about it many times.
Yeah,
everyone loves the Red Eye.
There was a couple of moments there, and I thought this is like CBGB's.
Yes,
because we played a gig there, and I think it was when I put that Cro-Mags tribute album out. And the place was packed, and it went off for every band. And I just remember it was just just one of those sort of magical days. Like
I used to love that.
And the other thing that was good for me was I sold so many CDs at that gig, it broke even at the gig.
Oh, amazing.
So it broke even at the launch gig, and I was like, wow. That was good.
It was a quite mad venue because a bar was proper like on the dance floor.
So like, it was kind of tucked away at the back. Because you had the side of it.
It was just there, but
didn't it?
I'm surprised that no one ever smashed into the bar or anything, because some of the shows in there used to get nuts, man.
Oh, now there's the big fuck off column as well in the middle.
Was there?
I think in the Red Eye.
Yeah, I think there was. Yeah, because some of the photos on their Expression album were all from that gig, I think.
Oh, okay.
And we're all sort of on top of the crowd, and it just looks like an ace
carnage.
Gig. Yeah.
How many people could you get in there?
I don't know, probably 100 or something.
100,
yeah.
Yeah.
But I used to like playing the Free Butt in Brighton. That was one of those places. I think that was like an owl shape. Was it called the Free Butt, or was it?
I don't know.
But it was like
the Free Butt.
It was like an owl. It was an owl shape, and the band were in the corner, furthest away from the door. And it used to get so packed and hot in there, it felt like all the oxygen had been sucked out the place.
Oh, mate, yeah.
And I can remember a couple of times, Aid would almost like kick the fire doors open.
Because he was just going to pass that.
Like spew up in the car park after a set.
Oh, really?
Wow.
I remember Age used to have the biggest kit as well, didn't he? He had like 1,000 cymbals, man. I don't know how he's fill it in some of these venues.
Yeah, that was the metalhead in him. So I mean, Stampin' Ground is very much like this sort of two halves band. So me and Mobs were very much the punk guys. Who tended to keep it grounded. Scott and Aid came from much more the metal scene. You know, so
it's a good blend, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it was a good blend. It was. You know, the two halves really complemented each other towards the end, I think.
That's sick, man. I've read somewhere that you supported. Is it Anthrax, Arch Enemy, Soulfly? Was that a one-off or was that a tour?
So they supported Anthrax after I left. In 2003.
So basically, Stampin' Ground got bigger after you left it.
We did the Soulfly tour when I was in the band.
Oh, what was that like?
It was all right. I mean, Max was a bit of a dick, to be honest.
Really?
Yeah. He had his own bus with him and his family on, and then the rest of the band and the crew were in another bus. So we were sort of hanging around with the crew and the rest of the band, and Max was kind of very standoffish, and you know, I guess he was just getting mobbed by the public and stuff, so he was just keeping himself to himself, and his family were on tour with him, and he obviously wanted to protect them from all that sort of madness. So
how many dates you do with Soulfly then?
I think it's probably like 5 or something like that. It was all the sort of O2 type venues.
What's that? What's that? What
sort of 800 capacity or
man.
something like that. Yeah, that sort of size, you know, the O2 Academy kind of sort of venues.
I'm surprised that they were playing venues that small, because they were really big, weren't they? At one point, they were definitely like living off roots, pretty much, weren't they? For the early part of Soulfly, at least.
It was a good tour for us because those kids that were coming to see them were really into aggressive music, and it was just going off for us. I think a surprising tour for us was when we toured with AFI, who were like a really melodic hardcore band, but you know, they were really energetic back then. They hadn't gone as sort of gothic as they did. We had no idea we were going to go down on that tour, and they were just breaking big, so they got booked into all these modest sized venues, and then completely oversold them all, you know, 100 people outside TJ's in Newport. And but they were great band to tour with, but you know, their crowd were really into us as well, but they weren't really DIY gigs, which is what you asked me about.
But still, it's like
I can't imagine an AFI, although AFI's really early stuff was very punk, wasn't it, as well?
They so Davey, their singer, was a vegan, and I had a shirt which was the Venom logo, but it actually said vegan, but it looked like the Venom logo. Actually, it was Edward from Good Life who gave me that shirt. But anyway, and Davey took a liking to that shirt, and I took a liking to his Nerve Agents shirt, because I love the Nerve Agents. I'd never seen a shirt, so we swapped shirts at the end of the tour.
That's brilliant, man.
Which was quite nice, I suppose.
It was like the end of a football match.
Yeah. But I often thought, you know, I could sell that shirt to like one of these gothic fans of latter day AFI who think he's the Messiah.
Yeah, bloody hell, man.
2005, you could have got a mint for that.
So like, we can't have a podcast and not talk about Blackfish Records, man. So for those that don't know, obviously you won. Well, everyone listening to this is going to know that you've won a label. I think you released over 20 CDs. 20
exactly, it was. Yeah,
20 exactly. So how did that come about?
So I started it in 98, and I probably folded it in I folded it in 2003. 2003 when I left Stampin' Ground. So really we were playing with all these really great bands who didn't, you know, have a label to put them out. So the idea was, you know, I could put their stuff out, and then they could do loads of gigs with us, and I could sell the CDs at their gigs, which is kind of why I kind of knocked it on the head when I left Stampin' Ground, because it's like, right now I'm not on tour and I'm not playing with all these bands. But I sold all my vinyl to raise the money to start the label.
Wow, man. And respect.
Sort of bought
not them early 7 inches.
I saw. I mean, I saw.
You must be regretting that now, man.
I sold like my Misfits Beware 12-inch and loads of stuff that, you know, sold it all. Then bought all that stuff on CD, so I still had the music, but I had a couple of grand left over to start the label with. And the first 7-inch was actually going to be a 7-inch by DI, the Californian band.
Oh wow! Okay.
But Casey went to prison, and they started asking. They wanted an advance, and I said, look, I can pay for the recording, but you know, they were quite a big band, and they sort of wanted some money for it. And then I saw Unite at Chinnery's. I think we played with them or something.
Unite, shout out to Unite.
And they were like amazing. And I thought, I'm going to put these guys out. And it just went from there, you know.
So I've got a list of some of the bands that you released. So you had Freebase, Amadilla Nocte,
Yeah.
Unite, Underall,
Yeah.
Decimate, 50 Caliber.
Yeah.
They still haven't released another CD since
Have they
that. And then you done the legendary UK hardcore compilation.
Yeah.
I got that.
Yeah, that was quite a big, like...
It was all unreleased stuff as well. I wanted to do a all unreleased stuff. I did a Light of the Morning mini CD, so that was the guys from Above All, and it was just kind of giving back because Above All gave us some really good shows. And then Tony started this new band called Light of the Morning. No one's really seemed particularly interested in it, and I thought it was great, so I put it out. And we did a couple of covers albums, which were benefits. And that was the punk thing. So I was kind of, we did like a Subhumans tribute CD with loads of punk and hardcore bands on it. So you had Knuckle Dust on a Subhumans tribute CD. So there was lots of cross pollination between the scenes then, which was really healthy.
Nah, that's fucking. I loved it, man. And obviously for me, you released our Knuckle Dust's first ever album, Time Won't Heal This, man. Like, and that album's very close to my heart, like, not because it's like made me loads of money or anything like that, but it just shaped me as a person. Do you know what I mean? So I'm thankful for like you giving someone like us, like when we got Art to do that CD, it was like fucking blown away,
so
man.
You've helped shape him as a person. I hope you're proud of yourself.
But there's a quick story because we done a Knuckle Dust Stampin Ground split.
Yes, we did. Yeah.
And I remember when we got when I got told that was going to happen, I was like, fuck me, Stampin Ground, this is going to be amazing. So we was like, right, we have got to get the best production we can, because Stampin Ground's production, like, you guys were always, your production was always really good. So we was like, right, so Ray, drummer of Knuckle Dust, he was like, right, I'm going to find a producer. So anyway, a couple of days later, he finds a producer and he goes, I found this guy, he's got a 24-track desk. And at the time, we're like, 24 track, that's amazing, because we're used to recording on 16 or 18 tracks. So we turned up, and literally, it was this black dude. He was about 60. He looked like Aswad. You know, the shine like a star. And I walked in, I was like, this guy is not going to have a fucking clue. And when we showed him what we was playing, he just looked at us like we was like fucking, we were Satan kids or something. And the reason I say that is because when you listen to that CD now, I cringe a little bit. The production from Knuckle Dust is so bad.
That's the one where you can hear Ray's pedals squeaking as well?
Probably. So. The dude didn't know that he had to amp up the guitar. He didn't know nothing about the music at all. But at the same time, when I listen to it, it's like, when you listen to something and it tells a story of a time. So like, but I was.
Do you know what as well though? I kind of like that production, even though it's raw as well though. It's proper raw, and I always like that.
I mean, there's a really funny story about that split. So the Knuckle Dust guys came up in the studio to do backing vocals with us, didn't you?
Yeah. I remember.
I probably shouldn't say this because it'll ruin the record for everybody. No. But once you know this, you can never unknow it. But so that the song "Pain Is Weakness Leaving the Body." We're doing the backing vocals, but their drummer, who was like a clown, he's shouting, "Spend the weekend with Linda and Bobby." Instead,
I've heard this.
Instead of "Pain Is Weakness Leaving the Body."
Really?
I've heard this. It's true. Yeah, Nicky told me this.
Yeah. So, and then I think someone else joined in with him. So you've got half the people shouting "Pain Is Weakness Leaving the Body," really committed, really intense, and then you've got these other guys just as committed and intense. Spend the weekend with Linda and Bobby. And I can't listen to that now without.
Can you hear it though? Can you hear it when you listen to it?
Because I listen to it hard enough, I think you can.
See, exclusive.
I'm gonna go home and try that.
Exclusive, mate. I'm gonna do that when I get home, man.
Yeah,
that's funny as fuck. So what happened with Blackfish then? Like,
So I got too ambitious, so I did I did a thrash metal tribute album, and I thought I better actually pay the MCPS on this in case Metallica come after me or something, So it was all cover versions.
The
So like the MCPS, the mechanical publishing. So when you cover someone else's song, you're meant to pay some money so that they can, get their due.
Yeah. Is that a lot of money?
It was more that, I never paid it out before.
Yeah.
And then I also got Ed Repka, this classic thrash artist, back at a retirement.
Sick.
Paid him $1,500 to do the front cover.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
And just before that, I did an Instigators re-release with a 32-page booklet.
So you went all out.
So I was going all out, and we were spending money advertising and stuff as well. And just before that as well, I did a release by Incoherence, who I think were from Watford actually.
They were, yeah.
And they split up as soon as it came out. They split up and went to university.
Yeah,
so it didn't sell and didn't break even. So after that thrash tribute, I was just about in the black, and I thought,
I'm going to jump out.
I'm going to bail out now rather than dig myself into a hole with it. And plus, just after that, I left Stampin Ground, and I thought, wow, if I'm not seeing these bands, and taking them out on tour and selling the CDs face to face, because it's when you're selling CDs at gigs, you can break even quite quickly. When you sell them through the shop and everybody takes their cut, it's difficult to break even. So I just did the honourable thing really, and said, you know what, I've had a decent run, put out 20 decent records.
Are you really proud of it when you look back?
Yeah, most of it.
Are you allowed to say what you're not proud of?
Knuckle dust happened. Split.
That's fine.
So have you still got boxes of the Incoherence CDs?
No, they've all gone. Actually, Aston from Boss Tunage Records took everything that I had left. I did have some stuff kicking around.
Yeah.
But no, you know what? Every single CD I put out, I wanted to put out at the time.
Nah, man.
So I was kind of proud of all of it. One or two bits and pieces that didn't come out quite the way you wanted them to do, but that's hindsight for you, like. Yeah.
So getting back to Stampin Ground, like you released countless 7 inches and what? How many albums? 7 albums? 4 albums?
Four albums. Yeah.
Sorry. What's your favourite out of all them albums?
Carved from Empty Words.
Yeah. Because is that the one that? Why?
It's just that was when it all clicked. It was just like a moment at a time, like for me.
Yeah. Are you allowed to say what was your worst?
Nah.
Do you have a worst? Do you guys have a...
Well, not really. I mean, the thing is, every album is where you were at that time, if you know what I mean. I mean, the one I listened to least is probably the last one, which is the one that apparently sold the most. The fourth album that we did. But I think we overproduced it and we overwrote and overcomplicated some of the songs and stuff. If I was going to listen to any of that stuff now, I'd listen to Carved from Empty Words.
Okay, man. How did that split with Northside Kings come about? Not split, the cover album.
I don't know. They just wanted to do it, and they said, we've got all these covers, and we've got all these covers as well, so we just threw them all.
Was that after you laid out Danzig? You seen that video?
It's about the same time, I think. Yeah, it was quite good. Yeah.
Have you seen that video?
Yeah, I've seen it.
What happens? He was standing.
So he was just saying he was saying to Danzig when he's something about like, why have you put us on after you? Everyone's going home, like
they were late getting to the show,
something. Yeah, and then I think Danzig just took umbrage to it, and he sort of went like that, and this geezer you could see him just go red, and he just went bang.
Do you know what?
It was Danny, I think the drummer punched him
clean out.
Yeah.
When I first saw it, I thought this has got to be like a guy that looks like Danzig, but it was actually him,
Danzig,
wasn't it?
Mate.
Yeah.
I'm surprised he didn't sue or something, because no shade on my American friends, but I do like to sue in America, don't they? Like, do you know what I mean? Fucking hell, man. So Stampin Ground, it ended in 2003, man. What was the...
Well, no, I left in 2003.
I thought the band broke up in 2003.
No, they went on for about another 2 or 3 years, I think. I think they probably finished in about 2005, 2006.
Okay, so can you just talk about you personally then? What was it? Did you feel it coming? Did you...
Yeah, it was an epiphany for me, because I did a tour with Hatebreed and I did a tour with Soulfly, and we just had our daughter, so she sat at home, and I can't remember, I think there was a crazy period where we did like 35 gigs over about 7 weeks, and I was never at home, and I just started to think, you know,
how much would you pay? You was literally more or less full time with Stampin Ground.
Well, the busiest year we did about 120, 130 gigs.
Fucking hell, man.
That was when I was in they got busier after I left because they sort of hit the road full time but didn't write any material. They just went on tour.
So they were making a living from Stampin Ground.
They were trying to make a living from Stampin Ground.
And when you was you working? And
we were all working. It took a lot of the pressure off. You know, we were all working, so you keep the wolf from the door with your day job. It didn't matter if you didn't get paid for a gig or whatever. But I can remember sitting backstage very miserable, thinking I should be at home with my daughter, and I was thinking, I know the staff at this venue better than I know my own daughter, because we rocked through this venue 3 times in 3 months. You know, and I was like, this ain't right. So I actually said to him, look guys, I'm done. I think the next day there was a phone call like, oh, you've got the main stage at Download, and I'm like, fuck that, I'm doing that gig. So I said, I'm doing that gig for sure, because it all built up to that gig. So that was the last gig I did with them.
Did they try and convince you to stay?
No, I think they were all really reasonable about it. They could see the reasons for doing it, you know, and I seem to remember helping train Ben up, show him the riffs.
He done a good job, man, Ben. Yeah.
And they carried on, and then I think Mobs left after maybe 18 months, and then they got maybe a guy called Paul in, I think, or someone. Yeah. They carried on for maybe another year touring, and they toured hard. They went all over Europe. That's when they did Anthrax and Arch Enemy and stuff like that. Okay. I think they toured with Emperor and stuff like that. I don't know.
Okay, and then when did Stampin Ground officially call it a day?
I think they probably split in about 2005, 2006, and then Adam went on and did Romeo Must Die with Adam and Paul, I think, and Scott went into his sort of sound engineering and stuff.
Did so was there any when they reformed for that? What's it called? What's that festival?
Sonisphere.
Sonisphere. Did they? Was you tempted to come back or?
Well, I mean, I had the conversation with Adam, and I wasn't interested at the time.
Did they try and beg you?
No, they didn't beg. They just said, you're going to do it. And I'm like, no, don't want to do it. And it was a little bit of bad feeling, because I said, I don't want to give it my blessing. You got no founding members in the band. It didn't really feel right to me, but they went out and did it, and
Trigger's Broom.
What's that?
Trigger's Broom.
Yeah.
Okay. No, it's interesting what you said, because Cheaper's Boom, what's that?
He don't get it.
You don't get it. It's only Fools and Horses analogy. Trigger's Broom. Trigger goes, this broom, I've had this broom for 18 years or something. He's had 10 handles and 18 fucking heads. Yeah. Trigger's Broom,
Oh, was I supposed to laugh then?
Yeah. Sorry. You just tell, I give him a look like, got that, has he?
I got it now, it's just hit me.
But there was I guess there was a bit of tension at the time, but it's, we're all past that. We're all friends about it and all chatting and stuff again. It's all good.
But it's interesting you say that, because I remember at the time on Facebook or something, you put up a post saying,
I'm not involved
something. I'm not in Stampin Ground. Stop asking me. I'm not doing a reunion or something. I don't know nothing about it or something.
Yeah, a lot of people are messaging me saying, just.
Is that pissing you off a little bit? Not in a bad way, but you get a bit annoyed with it.
I mean, I just thought it's probably best if I put something out there saying, look, I ain't involved in it. That's and maybe that statement come across as a little bit terse.
I must admit, I saw it and I thought, oh shit, is there a bit of beef going on, or something? But
it wasn't like
I know.
It wasn't like Cro-Mag's beef or anything like that.
No, I just wanted to clear that up.
Ever get the feeling that you fucked with the wrong person? Well, here's that feeling, squeezed into 31 minutes of audio violence. This is Cold Hard Truth with their new album, Intimidation. Available for you to stream from all the usual places and to own on CD from Ruction Records when you visit www.ruction.com. And just remember, I know where you fucking live!
We can't end it without talking about your books, man, and your work for Terrorizer magazine. So you've released 5 books. I've got them written down here. The day the country died, and my phone's just jumped over. Name the books. The day the country died.
So Burning Britain was the first one.
Oh, Burning Britain was the first one.
Then The Day the Country Died.
Yeah.
Then Trapped in a Scene.
Yeah.
Then Armed with Anger,
which is one I read.
Which was a difficult 90s book.
Yeah.
And then
some weird geezer on the front cover. Yeah.
Yeah. And then Contract in Blood, which was a UK thrash metal book.
Yeah, I saw that. That's come out just last year, right?
Yeah. And so the one I'm working on now is called The Scene That Would Not Die. And
that's sick.
And that's the punk scene from 2000 to now. So it's just kind of bringing it to a conclusion.
A conclusion.
Yeah.
So the question I've got to ask for you, is how do you... Could you guys even begin to think how you write a book? Like, how...
No.
Like...
Can't even read.
Not me.
How do you put a book together?
You just start. It's just baby steps, really. You know. It's each one took about 2 years to do, so you do a lot of interviews, a lot of editing, a lot of editing, a lot of proofing,
sourcing material and shit.
Yeah.
When you get these celebrities and they write their books, they get someone to write. They just sit in a room with someone, they talk, and then someone gets all their shit, and puts it together. Did you rearrange it, or did you give it to someone else to rearrange?
No, I did it all.
Wow, man! Look,
and I
come on, man!
It's called DIY, mate.
So no, I even proofed it, and sort of wrote the blurb for the back cover, wrote my own press release.
Yeah.
Just the thing is with Cherry Red, who did.
Yeah, they're the ones.
So they did the first 5 books.
Yeah.
I spoke to other companies that would have paid me more money to do it, but Cherry Red gave me complete, artistic, creative control.
So you really enjoyed working with them?
Yeah.
And am I allowed to ask? Did the book sell well? Are you a millionaire?
No. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I went on holiday off the back of it.
Why not, man? Fuck's sake, yes.
I mean, Burning Britain sold the best, and the day the country died, and there's sort of been diminishing returns. The 90s book was a hard sell.
Yeah. Why do you think that was? Because I had Pierre on the front cover.
I think, the thing is with those 80s books, the whole reason I wrote those books was because I was writing for Record Collector at the time.
Yeah.
And I was reviewing all these books on UK punk. And they were all about the Sex Pistols and the Clash. And I was like, when is someone going to write a book about Discharge and the Exploited and GBH? Because to me, we talked about it earlier, didn't you? Your own moment. That was my punk.
Yeah.
Because that's all punk is, isn't it? It's just in your head, isn't it? It's, your frame of reference, your perception and attitude and stuff. And my punk is better than your punk, obviously. But, that's what people think. But my punk was the early 80s. And I'm like, when is someone going to write a book on this? And in the end, I thought, I'm just going to write it myself. So I wrote the book I wanted to put on my own shelf. Never thinking it would sell but it really chimed with people all around the world, because I've had messages from all over saying, this is the book I've been waiting for, why hasn't anyone done it sooner? UKHC, which is what that sort of scene became known as, was this, my moment as well. So it was just coincidence, really.
Did you write any stories or anything about certain individuals where you got a bit they weren't happy with you, or was you conscious of that? Was you a bit worried about upsetting people?
I didn't really think about it in the first book, but some of the other books, we had to change stuff, and people, got sort of shirty about stuff. And what you find with bands is, you talk to one guy who says it happened like this. You talk to another guy who says it happened like this, and you talk to another guy who says it happened like this. Somewhere between the three accounts is probably the truth. And what I try and do is sort of put all three accounts in, you know. But then the other thing I always do is send it to the band, say, read this through. Are you happy with it? Is it correct? Because the last thing you want to do is it go to print and they say, oh, you spelt my mum's name wrong or whatever. And you had a couple of bands, like one member wanted to have the final say, and then another guy, you give it to the other guy and he'd say, no, put my bit in again. You give it back to the other guy, he's like, no, take his bit out and put my bit.
So what do you do in that situation
you
then?
just cut, in the end, I took it all out. There was a couple of bits where I thought, you know what, I'm just going to remove all of that story.
Do you know what? It's funny, right? There's 6 people in our band, but I'm always right out of all of us. It's uncanny.
I ain't saying fucking nothing.
So how far are you with this last book? Are you
I'm up to, I've written about 160,000 words, so I'm about halfway through. They're all big books. They all clock in 600-700 pages.
So do you lock yourself away in a room and do you just...
I mean, a lot of the first book was written at 4 or 5 in the morning because I was having this insomnia at the time.
Oh, wow.
So I was writing it before I went to work and stuff.
Should we try and go through some of the questions?
Yeah, let's do this.
Yeah.
Are you all right to stay?
Yeah, I apologise. I could talk a glass.
No, I love it, man.
Great,
the thing is, when we do this, I try and cover much of the story as possible.
All right, first question is from our good friend Jimmy Ferrari. He's actually part of the Brooklyn Blast Furnace and he's one of our sponsors. Well, he is our sponsor, Blast. No. Dark Satellite Media. Yes.
Yeah. Shout out to him.
Anyway, this isn't a question.
Satellite Media.
This isn't a question. It's just a statement. Stampin Ground's cover of "Where Have All the Boot Boys Gone" is one of the hardest songs ever, and my favourite track off of the worldwide tribute to Real Oi Comp.
That's amazing to hear. I mean, me and Mobs grew up. We loved the Cockney Rejects, and it just seems so bizarre for Stampin Ground to cover the Cockney Rejects. But on Ochromag, we did a cover of Jerusalem by One Way System, and it was a hidden track on the second album, Expression of Repressed Violence.
Oh, dope.
Ono Cromag heard that, and he was like, oh, these guys are into their UK punk.
Oh,
so that's why he asked us to go on that tribute to Oi.
That comp is actually really fucking hard. I listened to it a few weeks ago at Mansions, like, and it's like hearing that Stampin' Ground sound over an Oi track is like fucking.
And we did a Slaughter and the Dog song as well, I think, and we butchered it. And I mean, I've never forgiven myself for what we did to that song.
Oh, cool, man. That's a good question, man.
Okay, I got a question in from Nick, which says, any chance of the Blackfish back catalogue making its way online?
Yes. So I think it's all on Spotify. I think
it is. Yeah,
I think it is up there or on Spotify. I might stand to be corrected. I'll check it out when I get home, but I'm pretty sure Aston from Boss Tunage put it up online because I didn't know how to do it.
So there's a Blackfish page on Spotify, right?
I think it's all up there. I don't know if there's a Blackfish page.
It'll be all the individual bands.
Yeah. So you got to search them individually.
That's it. We've got, I think you know this guy, Darren Big Ed White. Do you know him?
He's got a big head, yeah.
I think he's. I know Danny Evans, if he knows him. Like, was one of like.
Oh yeah. What's up?
But he basically just says, "Tell him he's a legend." Simple as. That's it.
Yeah.
I mean, I appreciate it, and I feel the love, but I don't think of myself as a legend. I just think I was there doing what I wanted to do, and it was just part of the time, and we were all legends together.
Look, I've got to say
I don't
this.
think of myself as a legend either, but some people.
I just want to quickly say this before you continue on with the questions. Like,
yeah, of course.
For me, like when people talk about hardcore, they talk about New York hardcore and stuff like that, which obviously is very important to all of us. But people like yourself and other people that help build the UK scene, I feel like that's why I've done this podcast, because I want to give them the flowers. Do you know what I mean?
Man.
I want to say this guy was, or this band was important. This band played this part. Do you know what I mean? So
just give him props.
I just want to. No, but you know what I'm saying, like, because I know you don't want to say it, but Ian, you played a very integral, important role, man. Let's not play it down. You did.
Okay.
And a lot of people have been saying, get Ian Glasper on. Like,
I mean, I appreciate it, and I'm glad that I help people along the way. But it's like a lot of the stuff I did for my own gratification. You know, like
That's
writing for
fair
Terrorizer. You know, I liked that band. I wanted to get them in the magazine, and you know, afterwards you can see, oh, actually, yeah. So I did help them reach a wider audience or something like that. But you know, it does make me feel uncomfortable when people say, "Oh, you're the godfather of UK art." I'm like,
Do you want your queen to the side?
I'm like, yeah, it's like, I mean, you know, essentially, I'm like quite a shy, retiring kind of guy.
Really?
Like, yeah, so, but you know, it's better to be people to give you props and to.
He's blushing right now, everybody.
To give you a load of grief, do you know what I mean? So it's good. I'll take it. Yeah, thank you.
Let your kids listen to this podcast and they'll be like, "Oh, my dad's cool, man." Like, yeah.
Well, just to finish off, there's a couple of questions which are kind of pretty much the same, but it all revolves around one thing, and just basically people asking what you mentioned earlier on about shutting it down in a post. But some people are wondering, will a reunion ever happen?
Of Stampin Ground.
Of Stampin Ground.
So I wasn't ready to do it in 2014. It is 20 years since Car from Empty Words.
Am I going to have to edit in a drum roll here?
yeah. It's unlikely, but it's more likely than it's ever been. I mean, me, Mobs and Aid are jamming, and we're jamming a lot of old Stampin' Ground songs. What I'd like to do is just get the five of us in a room to jam that album for old time's sake.
Yeah.
And there's two reasons I want to do that. One is because we were all friends, and it would just be good to do it again.
Exactly.
Yeah, beautiful.
And the other thing is, we're all alive and actually capable of doing it, which is something to celebrate, because a lot of my friends
definitely, man,
are like either wasted, you know, or arthritic or dead or whatever. So the fact that we can do it maybe is reason enough to do it. But honestly, I think if we did it, it would be for the five of us for fun in a rehearsal room. You know, it was a special time. It was a special time for us, and you know, that's why I'd like to jam it
and say
fun.
you feel with it first.
Yeah, you know, and you know, who knows what could happen. But I mean, like I said, me, Aid and Mobs are kicking those songs around in a rehearsal.
Are they tempted to do it? Are they tempted to?
Well, I mean, they sound killer. I mean, we were doing it for fun, just to keep our chops up. You know, and Aid hadn't played drums for a long time, and Mobs hadn't played guitar for a long time. But it's like falling off a bike. We started playing some of those songs, and we knew where all the stops and starts were, and we were all grinning at each other, and it was fun.
That's beautiful, man.
Yeah.
You know, so I think first and foremost, it's just got to be, you know, a fun thing to do, because you know, sometimes it can seem awfully calculating when people do these like reunion shows.
It is very popular at the moment.
I see. I don't know if Adam listens to this or not.
I talk to Adam now and again on Facebook. We always chat now and again.
I mean,
I haven't spoken to him for a while.
We're all talking, and you know, we're all on good terms.
That's beautiful. That's great.
So I think we are all going to jam together.
Can I come watch? I live stream it.
Just to celebrate the 20 years. But like I said, it's to celebrate the fact we're all alive, you know what I mean?
So,
but anyway,
we'll end up. But I'm going to say quickly, Warhound.
War
Wound. Do you know what I'm thinking of? That
there is a band called Warhound.
Yeah, it's just looking to write
War Wound.
Write a book on Waynerisms.
I'm just going to say, right, I get everything wrong. Everything. Like names, everything.
But we've got a new album, right? And one of our songs is called Crazy Old World.
Yeah, and I still
was it when we were on tour? He just goes, "Are we playing Crazy Town tonight?"
But to end the podcast, you guys broke up in January, right? So but you've got a new album coming out. So to end the podcast, talk about it.
So I mean, War Wound was
not Hound, no,
not Hound, not War Hound, not Whore Hound. No. War Wound. So Damien, the guitarist, it was his band in the early 80s, and then he went into the Verucas and Sacrilege, and when he put War Wound back together, it was with a new lineup, because the other guys hadn't played for a long time. So it was an honour to be asked, because I love Sacrilege, I love Verucas, so it was great to get in with that band. And it was one of those bands where the chemistry between us was really natural and immediate, and we really locked in on stage. So it was a great band to be in, and the the sound we created was like a bit of punk, a bit of hardcore, a bit of metal, really intense. And we toured America 3 times. I mean, we went all over, and had a great time with that band. Unfortunately, Damien had to stop playing live because of personal issues.
Okay.
And there's literally nothing we could do about it. And we were like, what do we do? He's the only original member. He's the founding member. He gave us his blessing to carry on, but we just didn't want to carry on without him. And but we'd recorded the new album, and luckily it's the best thing we've recorded.
Oh, awesome.
So it's great to go out
on a bang
at the peak of your powers, and not sort of get slower and slower, and a sort of parody of yourself sort of thing,
I just had an idea. Stampin Ground, Warhound, combined gig, final ever gig.
Someone said, why don't it just be War Ground? But no, I mean, War Wound, won't happen without Damien. But the new album, it's a really brutal album. It's a brutal punk metal album with really, I'm really proud of the lyrics and the art and everything on there. So
I'm gonna look out, man. So shout out to War Wound, man.
And the other shout out we need to do, is Son of the Endless Night. So Aid, the drummer from Stampin Ground, has got a thrash metal project where he plays all the guitars.
Yes, you said.
So he asked me to play bass and do lyrics, and Cy Cobb.
Where can they find that?
So that's on an Italian label called Punishment 18.
Okay. Is it on Spotify?
That's on Spotify as well,
Yeah,
but it's just pure old school technical thrash like Creator, but Aid plays all the guitars.
I'm going to check it because you said he was an amazing guitarist.
He's a great guitarist.
And on Spotify on the way.
Speaking of trash, just recently, just quickly, someone did say in one of the questions that on Blackfish you put out one of the best thrash compilations as well, so they wanted to say thank you for that.
Thank you. I mean, I was really into thrash metal in the 80s, as well as punk and hardcore and stuff like that. And we got hardcore bands from all around the world who all love thrash as well. I mean, you've only got to listen to some of the Stampin' Ground riffs to see that we were into thrash. And a lot of the, even the sort of, modern beatdown bands, they like Slayer and stuff
definitely,
like that.
Definitely.
So it was just a nod. And, and I got Jim Durkin from Dark Angel, Tony Scaglione from Whiplash to write liner notes. Like I said, I got Ed Repka at a retirement.
See, Repka you've done all the artwork for Megadeth and shit.
Yeah, no, yeah. I remember, yeah. He's like
so it bankrupted me, that release, but it was one of my favourite releases because Stampin' Ground did Calling in the Coroner by Violence, which is like, that's one of my favourite thrash albums. So
wow, man. Well, Ian, man, thank you so much.
Yeah, man, for real.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Go check out all the stuff on Blackfish. Go and check out all the
Stampin' Ground stuff.
Warhound,
Stampin' Ground, Warhound, Warhound,
Flesh Wound.
But here, man, I'm gonna say, even if you don't like to hear it, mate, you are a legend, mate. Thank you for what you've done for the UK hardcore scene. We didn't get into the Terrorizer thing, the fact that you used to cover a lot of the UK hardcore shows back in the day and put it into mainstream. I don't know if you had anything to do with there was a Knuckle Dust had a song on one of the Terrorizer CDs. I don't know if that was anything you had anything to do with that.
I did.
Thank you. Things like that, man. You didn't have to do shit like that. Like,
true, man.
Do you know what I mean? And I appreciate that, man. So thank you very much, man.
That's all right. It's my pleasure.
Anything you want to say?
Just thanks for having me, guys. It's a trip down memory lane. It was really good.
Thank you, and thank you for coming, man. And we're gonna wait for the Stampin' Ground. I can't speak now. Reunion. I'm gonna shut up. Thank you very much, man, and good night.
You're listening to the Everyone But Us podcast, straight from the heart of London.